Night 5 of Week 10 for Turn 3 in 2024 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, but not the final night of the term because of the global IT outage back in Week 2. We're going 8 weeks back into the past to catch up the second round of the Rd-2 Indy series, which will be the 9th in total, setting us up beautifully for a grand finale next week from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the magnificent Brickyard, and that will bring the curtain down on Turn 3 proper, but not before 3 big nights of open wheel action here on the platforms of the GSRC across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Good evening, everybody. Zach Caban, Joe Baldwin, Josh Zumo here with you. Welcome to Friday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and welcome to round 9 of the Indycar series. Welcome to the Red Bull Ring. How good was the action here last night in the Sprite Insider Porsche Cup finale? Of course, Joe Baldwin very happy with his efforts here in the open split last night, but it's already gone belly up for him because it didn't take Adam Lavis long to punt him straight up into the elite server ready for next term. But my message to the IndyCar cohort off the top: good luck topping the quality, the spectacle, the entertainment we had here last night. They'll give it their best effort, no doubt, as we edge one step closer to crowning a champion. And there are the championship standings for you. Aiden Luthwaite on top, 325 points at the moment, leading Adam Lavis 295 after a very impressive drive last week at Magny Core. Fred Kahn is third, well back, but only 1 point clear of Paul Wood. And Woodsy is labelled tonight as a rather important point of the championship for him to determine whether he bothers rocking up next week to Indianapolis. We know he's just aimed for the ovals. He needs to put in a good result here and keep Fred Kahn at bay, but with a podium position there for the taking, I reckon we'll see Woodsy next week. Dave Oliver fifth on 200, 197 for Chris Noble, 170 for Eduardo Zamora. Greg Heaney and Wayne Visser locked on 166, and Jackson Dole on 160 points makes up the top 10. Now, a field of 20 in the house tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Yeaman's just joined in. Kurt Normanson's there. Stephen Crediton, Sam King, Fred Kahn, Wayne Visser, all those guys yet to punch out a lap in the qualifying session. Everybody else is parked up and done, ready for race start in just a few moments' time. There are the server setting and track conditions for you here. 3 minutes past 1 server time as we edge closer to the end of the qualifying session. 3 km/h winds in a what do you call it, southeasterly direction, 138 degrees there. 24 degrees the ambient, 36 on track, 31% humidity. 4.3 kilometres this course in Spielberg, Austria. The Styrian Hills, best known for hosting the Austrian rounds of both Formula 1 and MotoGP annually. But tonight, IndyCar is the focus. Josh Zuno, good evening to you. We're very excited about the Open Wheel Nationals next Wednesday night. More from you on that as we go. Tim Watson's just jumped into the booth to say hello to us, so that's a nice surprise. And first up, Joe Baldwin, El Presidente. Here we go once more, mate. Week 10, our 5th night on air this week. My 4th, your 1st. But you've been front and centre for much of the week in terms of driving. Now an opportunity to take a back seat and enjoy some of the best in the business go to work in the IndyCar.
Yeah, certainly is. Good evening, Zach. Good evening, viewers. Look, it's we're back here at Spielberg. Great track, great circuit, but I reckon the guys are going to be in for a bit of a handful tonight. It's going to be a wild combo. The big power, push to pass, choice in tyres, all that sort of stuff that goes along with it. It's going to make for a wild night. It's one of those nights I actually wish I might have been in there, but we'll we just got to wait and see. I guess these guys are they're going to be in for a busy night as we've got our qualifying up on screen.
We have our starting order up on screen. Not much in it. 0.013 between Luthwaite and Chapman, and then even less back to David Baz. Look at that. Less than a tenth of a second covers the top 6. That's quite extraordinary. By the looks of where the safety cars parked, we're going to have a full roll and form go lap here. So it'll be a formation and warm-up lap combined, rolled into one. Normally the safety car parks up somewhere halfway around the course and we get going a little bit quicker, but we've got a little bit of time to kill here, so that's good news. Aiden Luthwaite, Sam Chapman the front row, David Baz, Dylan Walker the second row, Tyson Broad, Liam Haycock the third row. Adam Lavis, Greg Heaney, Chris Noble, Lane Thoburn, making up the top 5 rows on the grid, the top 10. Sixth row is Matt Schmidtke and Aaron Russell. Seventh row, Eduardo Zamora, Scott Jordanson. Eighth row, Daniel Yeaman, Fred Kahn. Ninth row, Stephen Crediton and Sam King. 10th row, Wayne Visser and Kurt Normanson. So a field of 20, a Formula One size grid for this round of the championship. Tim Watson, good evening to you.
Good evening, Zach. How are you?
Very well, mate. What brings you into the booth on a Friday?
Oh, I just thought I'd jump in, see how the whiskey business boys are going. See as Aiden's in the fight for the championship, and jump in and have a bit of a chat with you fellas.
Well, we appreciate the help.
He's certainly done a good job at the moment, Tim. He's leading the championship. He's got about a 25-point buffer, I think, at the moment, or 30 points. So sitting on pole, there's another couple of points in the kitty for him. And Mav's back in 7th place, I think. He's qualified at the moment. So, yeah, I'm sure Mav will want to get up there and start battling him fairly quickly, Tim. So, yeah, Aiden, he's just got to be clinical tonight, doesn't he?
He does. It would have been nice to see a few more whiskey business boys in front of Adam, but hopefully Greg can get a good start, jump in front, and maybe hold him up a tiny bit while Aiden gets a bit of a lead.
Now, before we go any further, before I welcome in Josh Zuno, you might notice a couple of things here, folks. Wayne Visser, Daniel Yeaman, Kurt Normanson all parked up, done. They're not going to factor in the equation here. It doesn't look as though they've bothered jumping in. Actually, no, Daniel Yeaman has just opted to start from pit lane. My apologies. Sam King's going to do the same thing. So too Stephen Crediton and Fred Kahn, but no locked up SimSport duo Wayne Visser, Kurt Normanson. Disappointment for those guys. Interesting to see the tactics of Wayne Visser, of Daniel Yeaman, Sam King, Stephen Crediton, and your teammate Fred Kahn, Tim Watson. What the idea of starting from pit lane is, I reckon I've got a little idea, but time will tell. Josh Zuno, good evening to you. Open World Racing front and centre for the balance of the term now, because we come back next Wednesday night for the Interclub Challenge and next Friday night for the Indy 500K. And that's going to be an extra long night in the booth for all of us, and we're looking forward to it. But firstly, the Open World Nationals, that's going to be an awesome night at the Silverstone circuit in England. Just give us your initial thoughts on that.
Yeah, Northamptonshire, heading back to the Shire, but no, it should be good. We're going to have a really great display on show, and we're still dotting the I's and crossing the T's on some of the finer details, but I was hoping to get an announcement out tonight to everyone. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. A few of our guys are definitely going to stick it up the front. I know that the SRW boys have got some absolute demons. Like I think they've got half a dozen guys that are bloody 7-8K. So it's going to be tough going, but yeah, it should be good.
We love a fight. We love being the underdog and punching above our weight, and I'm sure we'll do it next Wednesday night. Remember that. Super Formula Lights have been a Tuesday night staple this term. Wednesday night for the Interclub Challenge next week. You'll see it live from 7:35 Eastern Standard Time. Right, here we go, boys. Strap in, buckle up. Hold on, let's go. Adam Lavis from 7th. Aiden Luthwaite, the championship leader from pole. 30 points the advantage here, but there's still double points on offer next week at the Brickyard. So if Adam remains within striking distance of Aiden, the championship isn't wrapped up tonight. Set for a start. Sam Chapman's a bit of a wild card in this caper. He's had impressive pace the last couple of weeks. Let's see what he brings to the table tonight. Off and racing. Geez, that's a sloppy start. Ooh, wow. Kurt Normanson just revealing some breaking news there. His wheelbase and pedals have given up on him during practice, so he won't be able to drive tonight. Wayne Visser, I'm not sure what happened there to Viz. Kurt might be able to fill us in on that, but by gee, there's some action up front in the opening stages here. And there come the contingent from pit lane. King, Kahn, Crediton and Yeaman as well. Luthwaite leads from the front. Chapman is second. Walker and Broad have got by David Baz respectively. Adam Lavis up to 6th. Aaron Russell, the hard charger on the opening lap with Chris Noble. Noble up 2 spots, Russell up 4. Matt Schmidtke up 2 spots as well. The two Alpha teammates side by side. That's Russell going through on the inside to 7th. So up 5 spots on the opening lap. Schmidtke makes up the top 10. Zamora, Heaney, and then Jordanson and Thoburn. So it was Greg Heaney getting hustled and bustled and muscled out of it there early in the piece and has lost 4 spots on the opening lap. Round the outside. Geez, that's ambitious, bold and brave early. Have a look at that. Tyson Broad and David Baz arguing over the same piece of real estate. They've got to be careful though. They've got Adam Lavis to company and Aaron Russell and Chris Noble. Across the line we go. 1 lap gone. It's a 47-lap race around here. 47 laps or 65 minutes, whichever comes first. We were lapping in the 1 minute 15s in qualifying, so if that's going to give you any idea of what sort of race pace we've got here tonight, we should get that 47 in by the skin of our teeth.
Aaron Russell's up 5 already.
Yeah.
Wow, he's on a charge.
Yeah. So just to fill in the gaps for everybody at home, at 1 minute 15, we're roughly 4 laps every 5 minutes. So that gives you an indication as to how quick a lap is around the Red Bull Ring, one of the quicker circuits that we go to, not ovals, of course. Oval speed is next world. Out of this world, in fact. Whoa, a little bit of dirt being kicked up there by one of the Alpha entries on the exit of the left-hander. And look at Aiden Luthwaite. He's just taken off, taken Chapman and Walker with him. Broad has been gapped 4.4 seconds to the rest of the pack. The top 3 have bolted in the early stages. 200 seconds of push to pass for these guys to use tonight as well. And only Greg Heaney has dipped into that thus far by the look of our totem pole there on the left-hand side of your screen. 1:15.577 for Dylan Walker. So 8 laps every 10 minutes, which theoretically gets you 48 in 60. But we do have that competition caution, which will slow the average speed up for a couple of laps. Daniel Yeaman, 1:55.499, the fastest lap of the race. Fantastic stuff in the early stages here. Jackson Rayhana, looking forward to hopefully seeing you on the grid next Friday night if work commitments will allow you, but we're not sure. Whoa! Yeaman did well there, already collected by Liam Haycock. And he's laying Thoburn at turn 1. Uh-oh.
Oh, awkward.
Round right in front of Liam Haycock. That's what allowed Yeaman to get on by, and that was the front wing. Yeah, have a look at that. No.
Oh, lane.
Sam King has been cleaned up. I thought, hang on, that looks okay because it's just King's, it's just Haycock's, sorry, Thoburn's front wing that's gone there, but no, he collected King, and King went exit stage left hard into the tyre wall. Poor boy. Boy, it's a frantic opening 3 laps.
Must have the F3 box on at all times. Mav's pretty solid at the moment. He's sitting there in 6th, so he's currently 2nd in the championship. He's not far off the back of Tyson. He's right there. So this is going to be a good battle pack as the race goes on. Obviously, it's one of those things.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Aaron's putting it right up there. Mav's shy. He's getting it. No, he got a good exit off the corner. So yeah, he'll be looking to chase down Broad, who's actually caught onto the back of Baz. I don't know if Baz has had an incident. He was clear there for a little bit. So yeah, Dave Baz might have got a bit of a wiggle up, and he's come back to the pack a little bit.
Yep, and he had got by Tyson Broad last time round, and Lavis under pressure from Russell and Noble. He'd be hoping that his teammate Nat Schmidtke might be able to offer some sort of moral support there. He's on the back of that train at the moment behind Chris Noble. Oh boy, pressure in the early stages. Thoburn, Haycock, King all on pit lane. King is self-explanatory. That car will be parked up for the night, I reckon.
Baz passed Tyson, so he was behind him. So here's the move. This was the move for 4th.
Go to the outside, why not?
Draft.
Bold and brave. Thank you, beauty. Oh, switchback.
Oh, he's been working for it. Must have been down at the next corner. Oh, no. Oh, we've had another one. William Haycock.
So another moment for Haycock. He's 2nd of the night. In fact, that's just parking up and exiting stage right. So Haycock's night is done. Haycock's out. King may as well be. He's been stationary for 5 3/4 minutes now, and that's going to put him 4 laps down, or 3 laps down next time by the line. On the tow rope there. King and Haycock. Haycock actually still stationary, but King has got back out into the motor race. And he's not going to lose that 2nd lap. So that's actually really good news for Sam King there, because if he can stay there, only a lap down, he'll get that back with the wave by under the competition caution later on tonight. Not yet sure what the fuel range looks like for these guys, but that will be a telling point with regards to strategy play, among other things, once we do know when that competition caution will fall. The commentary box has some idea, but the competitors obviously don't. It is random, it is drawn out of the hat before the race broadcast gets underway, but it will shake things up as it usually does. Dylan Walker here chasing Sam Chapman and doing a good job of it as well. Lutz Waite the leader, 1.5 the margin, doing everything he has to do, Tim Watson, your teammate, to bring home the championship and put the trophy on the mantelpiece in the Whiskey Business Racing pool room.
Yeah, so far so good. Long way to go still, but you know, all in all, hopefully he gets the win and gets that one hand on the trophy. But on the other hand, you want to see it go to the last round and towards all the way to the end to the last lap and see what happens.
Got to be mindful as well, Joe, and I'll get to Josh in a moment. Got to be mindful when you get to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, right? Adam Lavis, his 2 drop rounds so far are 26 and 32, so he stands to gain 32 points back if he has a DNF at any point in the next 2 weeks. Aiden Luthwaite only has 25 and 19 to fall back on, so I mean, if he finishes first tonight and wins, the minimum he'll take away from Indianapolis is 25 points. That's in the event of a retirement or anything like that, which then, because it is a double points race next week, starts to make life very difficult for Adam Lavis trying to reel that in and overcome the deficit in the grand finale.
100% right. And one thing, having raced around Adam for a number of years now, one of the tracks that he's actually really, really good at with his brain and the way his brain works is Indianapolis. He can do his strategy on the fly around there, and he's really good at knowing when to save the car, when to go. And well, one of the things that's actually quite difficult around there is knowing how to save fuel correctly. So with the longer race and the double points, it's going to be yeah, if we can get a good result tonight, there's no reason to say that the championship's done and dusted. He just has to stay within striking distance in case anything goes south for Aiden. It'll put on a great grand final at Indianapolis, which always puts on good racing. And we'll probably have a lot of cars there too. Everybody, you know, who doesn't enjoy racing these things at Indy?
Every man and his dog will be there in a cheap suit next Friday night. It'll be fantastic. They'll come out from under the woodwork to race at the Brickyard. They always do. Even if you're not a fan of the Indycar, the opportunity to go around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in one is too hard to pass up. It's similar to when we, 9 times out of 10, put the supercars up. Oh, Greg Heaney's off the road. Greg Heaney's had a moment. Off the road is Heaney at turn 1. And Heaney's going to drop all the way down to 14th as a result of this moment here.
Oh, the curb. Oh, Greg. And keep it off the wall.
Did well to keep it off the wall. Well done.
Well done,
very similar premise to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and Indycars to Mount Panorama and supercars. Everyone, you know, you get a couple of wildcard cameos. The field grows, balloons in size because of the narrative and the novelty of it, the way in which those 2 things are steeped in history and tradition.
Sam's had a mistake.
He has, and there goes David Baz down the inside to 3rd. So Dylan Walker's got by and gone to 2nd on Chapman, and Baz to 3rd. And Chapman has the fastest lap of the race, 1:15.140, but he's now on pit road after lap 8. So that's going to be interesting in a 47-lap race.
Damage, maybe.
Yeah.
I've done some digging too. Does you want to hear about fuel info?
Yes.
Fuel burn, yes, please.
Fuel burn, yes. So we have a 35-litre tank, and a typical push lap is 3.44, 3.45. So
are you looking at
by rights, the guys who are good on the fuel saving can easily get an 11th lap out of the mix. And if we're talking a 47-lap race, add in a safety car, we could be talking 44 laps. Very interesting.
You could be talking, either way, whichever way you look at it, we're looking at 4 stops. Absolutely. 4 stops would be the minimum So that's going to eke out a bit of time on the clock as well. Hence why it is 47 laps or 65 minutes, folks. We expect the laps will come before the minutes. They usually do. It's only once or twice it's happened where it's happened the other way around, much to our dismay. Now, Scott Jordanson is also on pit lane, the second of the Whiskey Business entries. We've got Liam Haycock parked up and done for the night. Lane Thoburn the same. Nommensen and Visser non-starters. So we're down to 16. And here comes David Baz at the end of lap 9. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Because not 4 9s are 36, leaving 11. So I don't mind the 9, 10, 11 window, but you've got to make it work. You've got to think tactically and pragmatically about it. Mathematically, methodically, you've got to be very switched on here because 4 9s is going to leave you an 11.
Broad's under pressure.
4 10s is going to leave you 7. 4 11s is going to leave you 3, and any combination in between. So it's doable, but I don't think that's the last we'll see from David Baz tonight. It's probably just to buy some clear air for the moment. What is interesting is whether, like last week, Joe, where the timing of the caution was last week, it was right in the middle of a green flag run. So it shook and stirred things quite nicely. Here comes Aidan Luthwaite at the end of lap 10. So it looks as though we're going to have at least the bulk of the field having stopped at the end of lap 10. There may be 1 or 2 takers to go to 11, but if Adam Lavis isn't going to 11, then nobody should be. Let's see what Greg Heaney does. He's still about a quarter of a lap away. Everybody else in the top 7. Luthwaite, Walker, Lavis, Broad, Noble, Russell and Schmidt all through. Daniel Yeaman, having started from pit lane and not burned the lap of fuel on the warm-up lap, he's going to go through and take the lead. So I knew that someone was up to no good, and it happened to be Daniel Yeaman in that case.
Could have been a bit of a Sigma move by the end of the race.
This is interesting, and Luthwaite's come back out right behind Yeaman, 2.1 the margin, so Yeaman hasn't necessarily gained a hell of a lot from that. Hello to Antonio. Very good morning to you. It's only 6:15 over there in New York at the moment. On the East Coast and on the West Coast, it's about 3:15, but a nice Friday morning for you lot. Of course, the NFL season underway, the NASCAR chase for the Sprint Cup, the playoffs are on, the Indycar finales coming up this weekend. Good time to be in the United States, and of course just coming off the back of the United States Tennis Championship as well at Flushing Meadows in New York. 14 minutes gone, lap 11. Hello, Joe.
It'd be too early to get Antonio to organise me a piece of a New York pizza sent over. It's dinner time here. And I haven't had tea yet, so I wouldn't mind a piece of a New Yorker right now. Only one piece though, not a whole pizza like I used to eat. Just
no, Joe, it's only 6:15, mate. Start slow, ease into the night. Ease into the night. 8:15 on the East Coast, 6:15 on the West Coast, and 10:15 in New Zealand as we continue Friday Night Motorsport for you, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Lap 12 of 47, so Yeaman gets 11 out of his tank. And that's not necessarily
he does
a surprise because of the fact that he started from the lane. Bit hard to get a gauge on anybody else because there's been a few cars come in earlier than predicted with damage and other things, but mostly 8, 9, 10 and 11 were the magic numbers there in that opening stint. Sam King's still showing a lap down at the moment.
Fred Kahn on for a move.
He also stopped on pit lane, or started on pit lane, I should say. Kahn gets by on the inside, moves up into 11th, gets by Zamora. Heaney and credited to pit lane at the end of lap 11, and Sam King has, by the looks of this, pit lane lap 1. So yes, it'll be next time by, I'd imagine, for Sam King that we'll see him on pit lane. For some reason, his pit is saying that he's completed 19 stops, and that can't be right, because that would have required him to come in once every lap and then some, and that's just not doable at lap 11 of the race. But Sam King, I would imagine, in this time by to cleanse the field, given that he is a lap down, given that he would have got a top up with the stationary stop and hold when he got the toe back to the lane. He may not need to stop that early. He may be able to stretch it out, but whatever the case may be, he's very comfortably a lap and a half down in this race. But the benefit for him is when the competition caution comes, provided that he hasn't gone 2 laps down, he'll get back on the lead lap. He'll get his lap back.
One thing I noticed too, everybody's on the primary tyre. It's a sea of black on the race tower there. You'll see. Yeah, so sea of black except for Crittenden and Liam Haycock, who's he's still in the pit. So I think we might have seen the last of Liam for the night. But yeah, obviously everyone's learning as the season's going on to hang on to those alternate tyres to the last stint or the last 2 stints at the end of the race. So whilst we've got some pretty good fastest laps at the moment, I would expect we'll get well into the 14s once some of these front guys are running on the alternate or the red tyre, the soft tyre. It is a lot faster, but as you know, Zach, probably 5, 6, maybe 7 laps at a stretch if you don't get too much of a slider or wiggle on with these cars, and then they'll start to drop off and the primaries will come in. But once everybody's on them, it's we should see the time start to tumble.
Indeed. Actually, there's I was talking about the Indycar series finale coming up in the real world on Monday morning. A lot of talk that might actually get pushed back to Monday due to a hurricane in the region and the wind, rain and havoc that'll reap. Keep a close eye on that, folks, because that could impact, among other things, as Scott Jorgensen goes for a spin. Among other things, that could impact qualifying and starting positions and you name it. So keep an eye on that. It might be an early start on Tuesday, but I wouldn't necessarily mind that. I know it had hurt Indycar's television ratings in the United States for their swan song on NBC, but it would be a good thing for me because then I wouldn't have to make the choice between NASCAR or Indycar on Monday morning. They're running simultaneously on Monday morning, which I think is a stupid thing to do, but especially if you're IndyCar, because we know that the ratings usually go in favour of NASCAR over there. But obviously on Hurricane Weather Watch over there at the moment. We're on lap 15 here at 47. It is Friday Night Motorsport for the penultimate time in Term 3 of 2024. We are riding with Tyson Broad out of Turn 1. He is chasing Chris Noble and Adam Lavis. Sam Chapman is 4th. Aaron Russell is only a second off this battle at the moment. Who's on the push to pass button here? We'll wait and see. Light traffic moving out of the road.
Tomorrow.
Oh, jeez. Aaron Russell. So Broad and Noble have taken to the dirt. Noble has had to cop a slow down there, I think, and Russell's climbed in to get the toe. Russell not keen to try for the move on the inside on Noble just yet. Noble's already a champion this week. Wrapped up the Downforce Legends LMP2 series last night. He's found a sweet spot in those cars, no doubt about that. We're at the 19-minute mark here, folks. Aidan Luke like the leader, 4 seconds the margin. David Baz is 6 seconds behind Dylan Walker, who is second. That was Chris Noble's off-track moment.
Picked the dangerous way back onto the track over the grass.
A lot of grass.
He just, from the looks of that, he just got in there a bit hot, tried to rest the car, and it wasn't going to stop. So he's pinched the right front, just had to release the brake and run on. So smart, made the mistake, but was very smart about the way he went about managing the situation. I don't think he got position, so good going. But I tell you what, there's not a lot of red on the timing at the moment. Only between the teammates, Chris Noble and Aaron Russell.
Yep. And
Tyson Broad now, so this is your closest battle on track at the minute. We all seem to have spread out a little bit.
That will change once the safety car has come and gone, of course. The screen will light up a picnic, but yeah, you're right. And by the way, the Chris Noble replay, proudly brought to you by Jim's Mowing. Wouldn't it be nice to get them on board as a sponsor?
Would there be a benefit?
I don't think so. The amount of grass we mow here on the platforms of the GSRC. Josh, your thoughts on what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that there's been 2 penalties handed out. So Liam made a very late move into turn 1 on Lane there. Lane obviously had a bit of mist about him and had a very poor rejoin and took out poor Sam, the innocent party. Apart from that, it's been pretty clean driving. this is a really, really, really hard combo to not only navigate, but not just click your fingers and lose half a second. You know, a bad exit out of 1 or a bad exit out of the final corner of 10, I believe. And you literally just drop time. You know, the off tracks are brutal. The bumps and the undulations are brutal here. Everyone's doing really bloody good. That's my take.
Indeed they are. By the way, the Whiskey Business car that went a lap down there a few months ago, that was Scott Jordanson. Now, going around the grounds for you, poor boy, qualifying final number 2 in the NRL tonight. Roosters, Panthers. Panthers 22, Roosters 0. 22-0 in 27.5 minutes. My goodness gracious me. Port Adelaide and Hawthorn playing in the second semi-final in the AFL at the moment. And Port Adelaide leading that one 3-5-23 to 0-2-2 against the Mighty Hawks. Sorry, that's the first semi-final. Second semi-final tomorrow night, GWS and Brisbane in Sydney. So even New South Wales and Queensland viewers will be getting amongst that one. NRL finals continuing over the weekend as well. David Baz, Sam Chapman, 3rd and 4th at the moment. Adam Lavis, Tyson Broad, 5th and 6th. You can see that we've got Tyson Broad there on screen. He's 4 seconds down on Adam Lavis at the moment. Tyson Broad's got company though in the form of Chris Noble, Aaron Russell, Matt Schmidtke. Beautiful shots from the helicopter. We've been watching that one unfold, this battle, for a little while now. Big send going into the hairpin from Matt Schmidtke, but he lost some ground on the exit. Greg Heaney, the last of the runners on the lead lap at the moment, and Aidan Luthwaite's going to complete the 18th lap this time by. It's been very tame, this race, by Indycar standards, but the elbows will be out shortly once that competition caution has come and gone, I am sure. Let's keep an eye on Aidan Luthwaite's extraordinary run here. I mean, he's the only multiple winner in the series. He achieved that last week. We had 7 different winners in 7 weeks going into last week at Magny Core. He's got 2 wins, all the reason to believe that he'll notch up a 3rd tonight and potentially put one hand on the championship. Sam Chapman on the pit lane now at the end of lap 18. That's interesting. So 2 9-lap runs for Chapo, it would seem, so far, and he's the first to blink a second time by the looks of that. In comes Eduardo Zamora with him. Stationary times have varied between 6.5 to 7 seconds to 8 seconds in that opening round of pit stops. There's Adam, 4th place at the moment, just going about his own race, minding his own business. It's a very lonely run for him at the moment. But
all
again,
points.
Things will change. Things will change once the safety car has come and gone. And yes, you're right, Joe. There's something to be said about just bagging the points and then going to Indianapolis and worrying about it there.
I think in Indianapolis, I know what Adam's like there. I haven't seen Aiden. I'm sure Aiden's good at Indy as well, but I know what Adam's like when he gets there. He's just methodical about the way he goes about it. He's going to be tough to beat at Indy. He's always been good there. So it's Aiden will want to be racking up the wins tonight to give himself that points buffer just in case he needs it, because Mav, he's like a dog with a bone. He is. Once he can see the sniff of the top step of the podium, he'll be going all out next week, that's for sure.
Indeed.
This battle between Noble, Russell and Broad, this has been going on for a while, and Matt Schmidtke, look at Matt, he's worked his way into this battle a little bit. He's right there on the back. He's not that far away. He's got a good view of the battle going on, but he's actually come to these guys. So, the photo missed the serve by 32nd. I'm not sure who that is.
That's Dave Oliver. That's Dave
Oliver. There you go. Unlucky, Dave.
Unlucky. Very unlucky. Especially considering that we started the race a couple of minutes earlier than normal, didn't it?
Yeah, we did. That's why you probably missed it, Dave. It's not sure why it was a little bit earlier than normal, but it was only a 10-minute quality. It actually even caught out your broadcast team, to be honest.
Yeah, we're sitting here just having a yak catching up on the day that was, and all of a sudden we're like, hang on, we're actually going before 8 o'clock. The qualifying session ended at 5:02 rather than 8 o'clock. Now, pit lane activity.
Here we go.
Livening up again because Aidan Luthwaite, Adam Lavis, Chris Noble, Aaron Russell, Matt Schmidtke, Fred Kahn are all on pit lane to complete that second stop at the end of lap 20.
It'll be interesting to see the pit times
Just keep
for
an eye
these
on Daniel
guys.
Yeaman, just whether he comes in at the end of 21 or whether he can stretch it to 22.
All around the same. They're all around that 7.4 to 7.5 second mark. Matt was 7.5 seconds, 7.3, 7.5 for Russell, 7.25 for Schmidtke. So he's obviously saved a little bit extra fuel. We got some more of the guys in now. Heaney and Crediton, they're coming in. So I'd expect to see Dylan Walker should probably be in this next lap. Here he comes now, leading, so does he peel off to the right? There he is, right on cue. Scott
Dylan
Jordan,
Walker.
he's parked up, he's had enough for the night. Tough combo though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's been parked up for 3 minutes.
Well,
So that's
hang on a minute.
Yes,
Tyson
yes,
Broad
hang on a minute
He's
indeed.
all over him like a cheap suit. Look at this. What happened to Aiden?
I don't know, because Tyson Broad's only within a second now. Aidan Luthwaite, Tyson Broad, Dylan Walker, Daniel Yeaman. Yeaman's actually come around again. Yeaman has got to lap 22 before he's stopped.
I know, Tyson hasn't stopped yet. Sorry, that's why he was right on.
Yes.
Just in front
And
of Aiden. I was trying to work that out there
that's
for a
interesting
second.
as well, because Tyson's on lap 12 of a stint. So he's gone further than anybody's gone so far tonight on a stint. Oh boy, such drama here at the moment at the Red Bull Ring. 27 minutes gone, 28 minutes gone now. Lap 22, Aidan Luthwaite, Tyson Broad, Dylan Walker, Daniel Yeaman, David Baz, Sam Chapman, Adam Lavis, Aaron Russell, Matt Schmidtke, Fred Kahn, Eduardo Zamora, Stephen Crediton, Greg Heaney, and Sam King still showing nearly 2 laps down here at this point.
He must be running low on fuel.
This could be a
Tyson.
master stroke though, eh? 12 goes well into 47.
Here he comes
He's in
now. End of lap 22. Tyson Broad's on pit lane. So that's a 12-lap run for him. He couldn't go no further.
Daniel Yeaman,
And
he's going for another
Daniel
lap.
Yeaman's going for a 13th, a 12th lap. Oh boy. So that's going to be a 12-lap run for Yeaman to complement a 12-lap run for Broad.
Oh no.
Chris Noble's out of
our
business.
Contenders.
Chris Noble is out of business. What's going on here? Fuel?
Out of fuel.
Oh, can you believe that?
Has to be out of fuel.
Has to be. That's not. That's self-explanatory.
Okay, now I'm not sure. When these cars stall out, you can't restart them.
No, you can't.
No.
Oh,
Noble's
no.
back going. Noble is back going. Back out on the racetrack now, but he is still a lap down. When the caution comes, he will grab that lap back. Adam Lavis at lap 23. Okay. Aidan Luthwaite, Dylan Walker, Daniel Yeaman, David Baz, Sam Chapman, Adam Lavis, Aaron Russell. Caution. Caution. Oh boy. Daniel, and that does not work for Daniel Yeaman, because pit lane under these rules is closed for the first lap, isn't it?
Oh no.
There he is.
So Yeaman's going to have to limp and
He's
coast.
not ducking in, so he's going to go for it.
And then all of a sudden that brings him back into contention.
We're going to have to call these boys DBBBBM. What is it? Drop Rare Big Brain Motorsport. They can pull this off. Too many B's in that, isn't there?
That's
The four Bs.
wow. That's a Herculean run from Yeaman. This is now his 13th lap. Obviously, he's not going to burn as much juice behind the caution, behind the safety car.
I bet you if we go on board with him, hang on, where are we on board? Let's find Robert.
Can he get it back to the lane?
If we can get a close
He's in
up
4th gear.
of the dash there.
Yeah.
See what I can do. No. Hang on, I'll do this.
Is that right?
I'll clear that.
Right, now we're going to get a
There we
good
go.
look at
Now
his
we can
dash.
have a look at the dash. This is what I'm trying to zone
Talk us
in
through it,
on.
Joe.
Across the bottom there, we should be able to see. So he's on map. Is that map 3 on the right hand side? Is it, Josh?
Yeah, that's
not
my
sure.
three.
So yeah. So it'll be that one.
I'm not sure that they have that information broadcast. I don't think that they give out that as a viewer.
Oh, they don't show it, do they? Rightio.
I don't believe they would know.
Well, I can certainly tell you now, he's got his foot on the clutch. You can hear the car's actually idling.
He's just got to limp it back to the lane, and all of a sudden he's going to get a free pit stop, and he's going to be a race contender. What a master stroke from him.
So you hear Matt.
Everybody else has that. Everybody else has that
not.
question. Everyone else has that gamble to weigh up and assess. Do you risk it? Do you stay out because it's still a a two-stop race from here, or do you come in and get the stop done and stretch the tank as best you can to make it a one-stop race once we go back green? So many questions at the moment.
The viewers out there as well.
Tyson Broad was able to get an 11-lap stint out of, a 12-lap stint out of his second stint, then surely 11-12 laps is going to be half of the course here. Dylan Walker opts to stay out, and that's because he got to lap 21. He's only just got back out onto the racetrack as we've gone back to green, so he's going to stay out, as is Tyson Broad. An interesting move from those guys to put themselves into contention here. Stephen Cretterton will also stay out. Chris Noble is getting his lap back as we speak. And then it'll be interesting to see whether he opts to stay out or whether he comes in as well. But for the guys that are staying out, this is interesting, isn't it? Because I'm looking at the mathematics of it.
Got to make no mistakes here, no speeding.
We're on lap 24. That's brilliant from Adam Lavis.
well
Adam
done,
Lavis has
Mav.
leapfrogged everybody, hasn't he? Well, Adam Lavis has leapfrogged David Baz and Daniel Yeaman on pit lane. Beautifully done, Adam Lavis, but it was only a 5.18 second stop. That's the concern for Adam. It was only 5.18 seconds. He's going to be lifting and coasting and clutching and doing whatever he can to save some fuel behind the caution. Because he'll have seen that, he'll be aware that Daniel Yeaman's gone 12 laps on his, or 13 laps on his stint, one of which was under caution. He'll be aware that Tyson Broad went 12 green flag laps. So Adam will be looking at that and thinking to himself, if I can get to lap 35, the end of lap 35, 12 laps to home, I can do this. Stephen Cretterton shown as the race leader at the moment, up 16. Adam Lavis up 2. Daniel Yeaman up 9. Aidan Luthwaite down 3. But what you've got to remember here is Cretterton stopped last on lap 20. Walker on 21. Broad on 22. They're the guys that we're questioning at the moment. Are they going to compromise themselves at the back end of the race? Are they going to need 2 stops here to get home? Or are they going to be okay on 1? The guys that have just pitted on lap 24, we're going to take a guess here and say that they're looking at a critical number of lap 35, 36 at the latest, and then stretching the tank and getting home. No one in that pack that's just stopped wants to come to the lane twice from here. This is so tantalisingly interesting. Chris Noble's just come to pit lane at the end of lap 24 as well, so he's going to join the back of the train. Have we got lights out on the safety car? Aidan Luthwaite's 4th at the moment, dragging the train along. Stephen Cretterton is seating position. Okay, that's a strange one. But no, he shouldn't be at all. What's just happened there for Stephen Cretterton? Because he was parked up driver's right. Now, the second thing is, are the lights out on the safety car or are they not? Yes, they are. Lights out on the safety car, and we're going green this time, and Cretterton's going into the lane. That's why he's pulled out of the train. He's going into the lane. Dylan Walker's going to bring this field back to green. 22 laps to go. Oh, things just got very interesting at the Red Bull Ring. Let's go back to work. Second half of round 9 of the championship, the Road to Indy Series, Friday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club.
Yeah, Nick
Fodiatis is right.
Hang
on. It's absolutely on. Adam Lavis is right behind his title combatant in Aidan Luthwaite, but he's trying to fend off Daniel Yeaman and keep him at bay. And here comes David Buzz as well. Yeaman with the up and under at turn 3. Yeaman's got a great run. Yeaman's going to go to 4th. Master stroke from him, the way that he was able to start from pit lane. That was very cheeky. But then he's made it work to his advantage. He's stopped one less time than everybody else around him. And he goes through to fourth. Chasing Aiden Luthwaite now. Tyson Broad and Dylan Walker lead this field. Walker enjoying some clear air at the front. But for how long?
Another thing to note as well, we've got 3, 4 and 5 swapping out to the alts as well, so they'll be wanting to get the job done early on in this stint.
So both Luthwaite and Lavis on the alternate tyres at the moment. When do they start burning push to pass? Lavis has used 6 seconds of it. Yeaman 17, Luthwaite 5, Broad 22. Dylan Walker has not touched his push to pass yet. Dylan Walker has not touched it. Stephen Crediton rejoins at the back of the field just ahead of Sam King. King is still half a lap off the train, so even though he was able to get a lap back, he's not back on the lead lap yet. Well, he's nowhere near being competitive to move up the field is what I'm saying. Scott Jordanson's still on pit lane, out of business, parked up and done. So 3 retirements thus far, 2 non-starters. A fair rate of attrition in the opening half of the race. 37 minutes gone, 20 to go next time by the line. We should be good on time. What to say, 4 laps every 5 minutes. So it should only be 25 minutes from the time they get back to the line or thereabouts. And we've got 28 on the clock. So we're good for time. Barring a catastrophic disaster.
We've got Walker and Broad on the primary tyre, and Luthwaite, Yeaman and Maverick are just starting to mow them down. They're getting the warmth into them tyres and they're on the march.
Tim Watson, what are your thoughts on how your Whiskey Business teammates are faring at the moment?
For Aiden, so far so good. I guess he probably would have liked a few more guys up closer to him to try and help him a bit, try and maybe hold Mav up a bit. But it'll be interesting to see how Walker and Broad go. Just a question to Joe, would have you pitted if you were Broad under the safety car just to get that little bit of a top up? And maybe go that extra bit, be on the sort of the same strategies they are.
However,
would have come out earlier.
Yeah,
I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying, but my immediate answer to that, Joe, is that you've got to weigh up 2 things here. Oh, have a look at that down the inside. Big dive from Tyson Broad to take the lead away from Dylan Walker. Luthwaite's there as well. Yeaman Lavis coming back to Tim Watson's point. The 25-14 and 264 have been disadvantaged. So,
oh no.
So Nick meant to add a lap to the safety car just to buy those guys a little bit more time to get back round onto the back of the train. The 025, the 14 and the 264. Long night ahead for those guys, unfortunately. Sam Chapman moving up at a 6th spot on the inside of Aaron Russell. Look at that train. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the front. Joe, Luthwaite. Brilliant, beautiful. Look at that. Blasting on by on Dylan Walker. To second goes the championship leader. And look at him now. He'll set it up. He's got Tyson Broad in his view and his sight here.
And he's got his thumb on the button.
He'll be going for it to the outside. No, he backs out of it. My argument, going back to what Tim Watson was asking you, Joe Baldwin, Lavis trying to get in on there as well on Walker. Walker's lost all sorts of ground here. Back to 4th, might soon be 5th. My immediate answer to what Watson was saying is if you're Dylan Walker or Tyson Broad, you've got to weigh up 2 things here. 1, time left in the race and whether you can stretch the fuel tank and get home on the numbers you're currently running and on the fuel you've got. But if you go to pit lane and follow everybody else in, you're sacrificing track position. And that was a big key talking point last week at Magny-Cours.
Yeah, 100%. And track position's really key with these cars because they are a handful. Yeah, it's probably easier to give up a second or two, putting a lap or two's worth of fuel in on your next pit stop if you can save the fuel and you're still only going to 2 stops. So all these guys still need 2 stops to get them through to the finish line. It's whether or not you want to take the initial hit with track position, which even pitting could drop you back 5, 6 positions, or you may, once you get to the end of your fuel burn, you might only lose 1 position with a couple of seconds worth of extra fuel.
Look at this! Luthwaite was trying to go to the outside, got balked! Daniel Yeaman up on the inside, the up and under from him! Luke White's running into the corner. He got balked. He got compromised. And he's relinquished second to Yeaman, who goes for the lead on the inside of Broad. Daniel Yeaman wants to lead this from the front. Could we have our 8th different winner of the season tonight? Look at Luke White still struggling to get by Broad as well. Broad, the unknown entity here. Broad in there is the odd one out in terms of the strategy play. Oh my goodness me.
Pit lane start for Mr. Yeaman.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this is so far. Look, I'm not calling it for the finish of the race, but to this point, almost drive of the season. Like pit lane to the lead, past Aiden, past everybody, and Aiden's in the second.
Now Luke Waite's got it. Long time in the making. Luke Waite goes to second. But now he's still got to find a way by Yeaman.
No, he's settled. No, he isn't.
No,
he's going.
No. Down the inside, backs out of it. Yeaman leads for the moment. Luke Waite got across to cover up Broad. Walker's in there as well, still trying to cover up Adam Lavis. Lavis has Chapman for company. Kahn and Schmidt gets an 8-car freight train at the front. Yeaman 2-car lengths to Luke Waite. Luke Waite pulling out of the draft to cover off Broad. Broad still defending Lavis, moving across to cover him off. Broad can save the smaller smidgen of fuel in behind Luke Waite. So too could Walker. That needs to work to their advantage, remembering that they're on different strategy numbers to everybody else here. Fascinating, tantalising stuff here at the Red Bull Ring. And we are edging closer to the final quarter of this 9th round of the championship. Remember, grand final night next Friday night, 7:50 Eastern Standard Time. Off to the Brickyard we go for 125 laps, 500 kilometres to bring the curtain down. Here's Broad, here's Walker. They're all trying to go with Luke Waite and Yeaman. Lavis is just sitting pretty at the moment. He's staring down a potential 3rd place finish here. He reckons he's got it. Luke Waite with a great run. On the button, on the rundown. To turn 3. Gets by Yeaman. Another lead change here.
Oh, Maverick in the
Lavis
outside.
to the outside. Got to be careful to cover off Chapman on the inside. Lavis gets the run. Very nicely done from Lavis. He's on the button now. He's having a crack. Straight by on the outside of Walker on the run down the hill. Walker relinquishes, yields, goes back to 5th. Could be 6th if Chapman gets a good run. Doesn't. Lavis moves into 4th place.
Broad's doing an outstanding job on the primary tyre to hang with these guys at the front.
Oh,
yeah,
phenomenal.
Not really the sort of track with these cars, I think, that lends itself to draft really coming into it. The straights aren't that big as such, but he's getting off the corners well. He's using a little bit of push to pass more than the other guys, which I think is helping him punch off the corner and just keeping with him as the laps are going by. So he's doing an outstanding job, Broady. So once he does pit and gets back onto the same strap with these guys, he's 2 laps out of sync. Walker's 3 laps out of sync with these guys on fuel. So they'll take a bit of a hit when they do decide to have their pit stop, as Sam Chapman's on the button trying to make something happen. He's trying to get by him. He's under the big braking zone. Chapo's got it done. Dylan's fighting back. Oh, Chapo gets a bit.
Had to fight with it on the exit. Had to grab it twice. It wanted to go on him. He jagged it back. Well done, Sam Chapman.
Yeah, fascinating.
33 and 47.
And look,
One of the
right down to 10th position. It's all reds and browns for the timing. So there's no more than 7/10 of a second between anybody in the top 10.
One of the other big things as well, don't forget these guys are basically fuel dumping when they're sitting on that button. So we're talking about all these fuel saving strategies. I will be very surprised if there's many, if any, doing a one less stop race. So interesting. So.
Well, Broad now, he's heading off for his 12th lap, and he's used 54 seconds worth of push to pass so far in the race. So he's doing really well, considering the amount of time he's used on push to pass, and he's still right there with these guys. He hasn't really dropped off.
My gut feeling is if Broad can get to 35, he can get home. 12 is the longest run we've seen tonight. And that was with 1 lap of yellow in there for good measure. We've seen another couple of laps of yellow in this stint. So Broad's done this stint with, on lap 22 he stopped. He got the 3 laps under yellow, 23, 4, 5. And then he's gone another 8 laps on top of that. This is number 9. So it's a very long run for him. He cannot be too far off, coughing and spluttering. Reithwaite leads by a second to Yeaman. Yeaman's got Broad, Lavis, Chapman, Walker for company. Walker's got Schmidtke, Khan, Heaney and Zamora lurking large. He's going for it again. Good on him, Titan. Broad, what a run this is. Yeaman on a march as well. Surely those critical numbers aren't too far away. Greg Heaney and Eduardo Zamora on pit lane right now. Is that them telling us that they're going to have to stop twice? And so too Chris Noble. Oh, what a wretched run of luck he's had tonight. So 3 drivers on pit lane at the moment, and that's got me second guessing whether they can get home. They've got to go 13 laps without another splash and dash. So again, it's a thinking man's game, this IndyCar series. Every week we sit here, we juggle, we talk about the fuel strat, the numbers, the tyre game. There's so many different equations and strategies playing out there at the moment. And Adam Lavis is sitting very nicely, I think, in 4th, Joe.
He's doing a great job. He's got to finish in there, not have too many cars between himself and Leithwaite to book himself a ticket to the Golden Final next week at Indy. So he's doing what he needs to do. I mean, look, Tyson Broad and Dan Yeaman, those guys are just, they've blown me away tonight, especially, and Broad's going around again.
Yeah. Right, so that is another lap. This will be a 14-lap run for him. And as I said, that gets him to the critical number.
Chapo for whoa!
Whoa! Chapo with a big send at 1. Lavis, Broad. Broad has backed out of that. Broad's got Lavis and Chapman either side of him. Chapman's gone to 3rd with a big send. And now Lavis as well. I think Broad's coughing and spluttering here.
I think
Broad's got to get to the pit lane. Broad has to get to pit lane this time by. Sam King making way there, going another lap down. As these guys make their way down the back straight. That's a strange one for Broad. He's dropped to 5th. All the hard work of the run almost undone, but he's got himself to a point where he'll only have to stop once. So too will Yeaman. So too will, who was the other one in there that stopped early in the piece? That was...
There was Broad.
Actually, no, I don't think there is anybody else. Dylan Walker, he's already stopped. He stopped on lap 35. We missed that. He stopped just now, so he's got to get 12 laps out of this run as well. Leithwaite to pit lane. Yeaman's going on. Chapman to pit lane. Lavis goes on. Broad to pit lane. Schmidtke, Khan. It's all going off here at the Red Bull Ring right now. It's all happening. Yeaman and Lavis on the same strategy. They're going an extra lap. Everybody else has reached that critical point.
Jeez, Aiden had a big slide into his pit bay there. He'd done really well. So, Leithwaite, Chapman, Broad, Schmidtke, Fred Khan, Aaron Russell and David Baz have all stopped on this lap.
Hawthorn trailing Adelaide, 9 points the margin, 36-27 half-time in the AFL semi-final. I'll get you an NRL update very shortly. We'll get to the checkered flag of this race very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the 50-minute mark now. What a night it's been so far. Lavis and Yeaman are coming to pit lane this time by, but Yeaman's pulled out an advantage of 3 seconds. So it might have been a small stretch for these guys to get to lap 37, but it's going to mean that they've only got to do a 10-lap run to the flag, and that could be all the difference. They might be able to push just that little bit harder.
24-0 to the Panthers there, Zach.
That was an enormous clutch from Yeaman. Sorry, Tim.
24-0 to the Panthers.
Jeez, okay. See you next week, Sydney City. Penrith are off to a preliminary final at the Olympic Stadium. Adam Lavis to pit lane. Daniel Yeaman to pit lane. If the Roosters come back from 24-0 down, it'll be one of the tails of the finals. one of the tales of the year. I don't see it happening. Hayden Luthwaite continues on.
Here's Luthwaite
Back to the
coming
main
down the straight.
Yeaman's off. Yeaman's on the go. Lavis leaves his box now as well. Lavis is running a little bit behind there. Luthwaite's covered everybody off, and comfortably. Luthwaite leads at the Red Bull Ring by 2.4 seconds. Chapman's got by Lavis. Lavis has come out under pressure from Walker. Lavis is sitting fourth. But everybody ahead of him is good to go to the checkered flag on our numbers.
So he's managed to cover Dylan. Dylan Walker has still got 200 seconds worth of push to pass. He's the only guy in the field. Stephen Crettenden's also got 200. Whether or not they haven't mapped the button or whether or not he's just trying to save it for the tail end of the race. But if he has, lap 35 to 47, he's going to struggle using 200 seconds to push to pass and get 12 laps out of the tank of fuel.
Absolutely. Lavis was wide. Walker up the inside. Can't get it done. Lavis still wide. Lavis still wide. Lavis still wide. Trying to cover off Walker. What a run. What a charge from Dylan Walker. So Yeaman second. Chapman third. Margin 2.5 between Luthwaite and Yeaman. Chapman's only 2 seconds away. Then a big gap back to Lavis. 1:14.480 for Sam Chapman, the fastest lap of the race thus far. Chapo is slowly but surely finding a sweet spot with these Indy cars. He's been a contender in the last couple of weeks and a real credible, genuine threat. He just wasn't able to convert the result, Magello.
Nick's actually
but he's definitely in a position to be able to do that tonight. Hello, yes, 14.8 by Aiden, but 14.4 by Chapo. Thank you, Nick. Wow. So we're in the 14s already, boys. Quite extraordinary, the pace in which this race is being run. Chapo is third and lonely. Have a look at him. 2.2 behind Yeaman and 3.7 ahead of Lavis. Greg Heaney off the road.
So we've still got Josh Wheeler there. You still there, Josh?
Still there, mate.
All right, what I might do, we might jump on board with Aiden if you'd like to call us for a lap around.
Not confidently. So bracket at the 100, you want to clip the inside here. Now you got a bit of undulation on the outside. You do want to ride take a little bit of that outside sausage on exit. Be careful of the accelerator. Up through 2 here, fully flat. Now braking just after the 100 marker. You want to turn in as late as possible. Just hit that curb. And you want to control your throttle on the exit here. Push all the way out to that curb. Now you want to use all the track on this next entry here. Braking about the 100 again. So we're seeing a few guys like that not using the curb, but have good word that you're well and truly able to. Once again, control throttle on exit. Now this is kind of a weird apex here, turning in around the 50, a light brake, and then getting on the accelerator nice and early. All right, and this is another one you want to kind of apex just after the curb starts there and control the throttle application so that you're not pushing onto the dirt. This is the trickiest section for me here. Pretty hard brake, around 50%. You want to clip that curb, not get out past these the curbing on the outside, and just keep it in the lines. You want to keep your right hand wheels on the curb so you don't get that off track and the slow down. Yeah, that's a lap, I guess.
One thing that just happened on that last lap, 14.1 for Dan Yeaman. And then he followed it up with a 14.3.
Yep. But still Chapo showing with the purple box, so there must have been an off track or something there for Yeaman. And he's got back to within a second of Aiden Luthwaite now as well. So that's important to note. Scott Jordanson on the tow road. Sorry, still on pit lane. Oh, there it was, yes. I was wondering why we were showing Greg Heaney. I was looking for him on pit lane and no, he's not there.
No, I clicked on it and it just
persevering with it.
Didn't show him. So, but he hadn't crashed. He'd just gone underneath the threshold that told me that he did. So, Luthwaite's got company, people. Dan Yeaman, he's using the button. He's right on him now. He's only 0.3 behind there. Hey, look, we don't need to tell you. You can see it there right now. He's gonna. Is he gonna do?
Oh, here we go.
The pit lane to podium tonight. Is Dan Yeaman going to do that?
Quite well. The podium's looking like a shoe-in, but whether it can be the win depends on Aidan Luthwaite and how hard he's willing to fight here. He's got Lavis covered off, and that's who he's got to worry about, and only who he's got to worry about. Yeaman's within 0.3 of a second. Yeaman's having a crack.
On the button.
They're both burning. Some push to pass here. 88 and 89 seconds. They're going side. Yeaman says a chance to win this thing, and now leads at the Red Bull ring. Here comes Luthwaite on the button, not willing to take that one lying down. He wants to respond quickly. Will do so by going to the outside.
Oh,
Down to turn 5. Oh, look at this. Yeaman and Luthwaite nearly coming together. Centimetres in it. There's definitely contact. Wheel banging between the pair of them. How good's this? Luthwaite doesn't want to give an inch, nor does Yeaman. Yeaman down the inside to the left-hander. Luthwaite will yield for the moment. They've both burnt more than half of their push to pass. Yeaman's got 10 more seconds on board than Luthwaite. That could be the difference in the end. 5 laps to go. Yeaman will be very lucky if he didn't get a slowdown in all of that. The end of another lap.
That was a long way out into the netherworld, that one. Wow.
Oh,
Good racing by the two of them there.
very lucky. If he
Kept it
got
very
away with
clean.
that, extremely lucky.
I love it that they say in Speedway, we'll sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge. This is outstanding racing. Probably one of the best shows we've had from the Indycar all season. You thought last night we couldn't top the Porsches. Well, I tell you what, these two guys are putting on a show now. If I was in Aidan's seat right now, which I'm not that fast in an Indycar, but I would just, right now, I'd take a few breaths, let Dan start to be aggressive with his tyres, try and save, keep the tyres under you temperature-wise, and then have a good crack in the last couple of laps if he's got the pace to hang with him when it comes to it. So, but that was brilliant racing between both of these guys. Little bump, that's hard racing. There was nothing out of line, I wouldn't have thought. So, yeah, play on, guys. Well done.
How good's this? The final handful of laps. Yeaman leads with 4 to go. He's got 0.8 on Luthwaite. Chapman, Lavis, 3rd and 4th, and Lavis closing in as well. Lavis will be in a position to have a crack on Chapman. Lavis has only burned 29 seconds of his push to pass. Chapman's still got 117 to burn as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they attack the final few laps of this race. And for Lavis, he needs all the points that he can possibly wrangle and salvage out of this one. So he would be hoping to find a clean way by Chapman in the closing stages here, just to give him a couple of points less deficit to Aidan Luthwaite going into the final round. Eduardo Zamora on the lane to grab a smidgen of fuel to get him home. So that's the first of those to stop 5 times. Stephen Cretterton now also falling foul of that. Greg Heaney is a lap down, having stopped again on lap 41. So Heaney and King both now down a lap. Yeaman and Luthwaite, 0.5 between them. Chapman, 0.3 on Lavis. Walker's got Broad for company as well, 5th and 6th. Tantalising stuff here. 3 active battles in the top 6. And Zamora's come right out in behind Aaron Russell there in the fight for the last spot in the top 10. 3 laps to go as we hit the 1 hour mark.
Probably nearly race of the season for me. Yeah, you've got
absolutely.
pit lane
Watch
to
Luthwaite
P1.
here, Joe.
He's not using his button.
He's got the slipstream. He's got the slipstream.
He's got
Not on the button yet, you're right, but he's using
2
the
seconds
slipstream.
left. No, he's on the button now. Get off the corner.
There we go. A good get off it was.
Oh, he's making the move. Here he goes.
Yeaman goes long. Yeaman goes long. Luthwaite's going to have to try and pressure him into a mistake here one way or the other. Luthwaite's only got 44 seconds left. Yeaman's got 76. Yeaman will be in the box seat here if we get to the final lap and he's in the lead position, because he can just burn it like buggery, provided that he's got enough juice to get home and he's not going to overdo it.
Noble's in the pits.
2 laps to go at the line, boys. Chris Noble back out again. That's stop number 5. 6 for him, in fact. That's been a shocker overnight for Chris.
This is
He's
leading up for the next 2
down
laps.
as well.
Mav's got 171 seconds to push to pass left, and Chapo's got.
Luthwaite to the lead!
no.
Luthwaite to the lead! But Yeaman's got all that push to pass available to him. 72 plays 27. They're both on the button now. So are Chapman and Lavis. But run down to turn 3 for the penultimate time. Yeaman with the big set and loses the front wing.
Oh, no,
Definite contact there.
Oh,
There was definitely some debris flying off Yeaman's car. Good old iRacing, afterwards no good tricks again. Magnificent. A last lap trouble looming here. Yeaman to the outside. Luthwaite got across to cover it off. Luthwaite staring down the barrel of his 3rd win of the season. Yeaman looking to be our 8th different winner of the season. Fascinating stuff here with a lap and a quarter to go. Luthwaite leads. But Yeaman has got...
Very
He's
close
using
to
his
the
button
gravel.
early.
Luthwaite is using the button now. Not aware that Yeaman's only got 56 seconds of it at his disposal for the final lap. He could burn it like buggery here. Luthwaite is going to have to put in an almighty defensive drive to keep Yeaman at bay. White flag in the air. Let's go one more time around.
Luthwaite's out of button, people. Dan's got
He's
49
gone.
seconds left, so he's good. He's golden. He's going to be on it here.
Here we go. Watch him fly here. Luthwaite will have to defend, and he'll have to do it without any sort of support. Got no teammates around him to help him out here, and he's got no push to pass either.
he pulls
Yeaman
it
straight
over.
around the outside. He went a little bit deep, but he got away with it, and he's on the button again. Goodbye.
Cool.
Daniel Yeaman's in the box seat now. Chris Noble's got the best seat in the house for somebody that is a lap down. Yeaman leads with 3-4 quarters to go. Oh boy, how about this? Yeaman can afford to get on the button just a little bit more here. Luthwaite will throw everything at it. Yeaman's right there, holding on. 3 quarters, 4 quarters to go. The left,
Watch for the green
right.
button. There it is.
There he goes. He's on the button now. Luthwaite won't catch him from here, I don't think. Yeaman's in the box seat.
Back to
Luthwaite would
corner.
need a little bit of bad luck on Yeaman's behalf to find a way to victory lane here. He won't do it. He won't have enough. Daniel Yeaman to victory lane from pit lane start in the
Wow.
IndyCar Series. 8th different winner of the season. How about that? He did it by starting on pit lane and avoiding a second stop before the competition caution. That's how it's done.
Oof, and that's a solid lap from Tyson Broad there on finish. 14.3 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 14.38. Absolutely. Cracking lap.
Magnificent. Daniel Yeaman wins. Aidan Luthwaite second. Chavo held off Adam Lavis, Dylan Walker, Tyson Broad, Matt Schmidtke. Then Fred Kahn, David Baz, Eduardo Zamora. Yeaman will get most positions gained as well. He was originally scheduled to start 15th on the grid. Opted to start from pit lane. That proved to be a winning move. A gamble that paid off. They don't happen very often. But Daniel Yeaman's a winner in the IndyCar Series on the platforms of the GSRC across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, and he's done it in extraordinary fashion. He's got the job done. Oh, the Aidan Luthwaite by 0.3 of a second. Luthwaite will slightly extend his championship leading advantage over Adam Lavis. Game on when we get to the Brickyard next Friday night. It does not get much better than that on a Friday night anywhere in the world of sim racing. My goodness gracious me, we've seen it all this week on the platforms of the GSRC. And yep, I think in terms of the fact that we had 3 Porsche races and we had all that different, logjam of traffic there, they put up a magnificent show. But 2 blokes there have held their own in terms of going punch for punch with trying to outdo the Porsches. What an extraordinary, exceptional, exemplary drive from both men. And Daniel Yeaman, the 8th different winner of the season.
That was an absolute awesome race by the 2 guys up front. Daniel Yeaman starting from pit, that's an extraordinary win. It'll make Indy next week very interesting between Aidan and Adam. Can't wait to hopefully jump in with you guys and watch and join in.
Always more than welcome in here, mate, for sure. This is what, yeah, I've got to say, for me, that was the race of the season so far. So we missed out on that race back when we had the global meltdown due to a bad update by the crowd strike. But my word, did we come back in spades with a race for the ages there, Zach?
Well, it was worth the wait. That's all I think we can say to that one. And what's more, Joe, I wouldn't have been here for the original. I wasn't due on air that night due to commitments with West Bromwich Radio. So I'm counting my lucky stars that we got to see that live. Race of the season indeed, Josh. You know, you've summed it up perfectly there on the Discord chat. Race of the season. Yeaman and Luthwaite. Yeaman's no slouch in these Indy cars. He loves these cars, and he's gone out and showcased and proven and illustrated exactly why tonight. Taking one of the best up-and-coming talents in the whiskey business stable and the GSRC stable to task and beating him in his own game. Luthwaite had to be smart about that in the end. He burnt too much of his push to pass towards the end. And had none to burn on the final lap. Yeaman played a different game, played it a little bit more tactful, a little bit smarter, and got away with it and did the job. Magnificent stuff. Josh Zuno, your thoughts?
I'm speechless. Sam's jumped in here, and I was one thing I will say, I was watching his incident counter the last few laps, but
so
absolutely cracking show from Aiden and Dan. I'm glad they've jumped in because yeah, that was the race of the season, no doubt for me.
I do remember about 40 minutes ago, Antonio checked in from the United States, said good morning to us. Joe was asking for New York pizza. I hope you're not feeling terribly hungry, Joe, because we've got a bit of work to do here before we knock off just yet.
And I'll tell you what, we have got a cast of stars in here. And still in the show tonight, you know, actually almost still in the season is Aiden and Dan. I mean, look, we had the race a couple of weeks ago where Mav got past on the last lap with the lap car getting involved and whatnot. That was pretty exciting, but for a lot different reasons tonight. Now, I'd love you to have a chat to Mr. Yeaman first. He's done something that I haven't seen in the GSRC for a long, long time. Pit lane to P1.
Yeah.
Dan,
burning from the stern took on a whole new meaning. He burnt from the pit lane.
He did.
I mean, it was only scheduled to start 15th. That's 1 point here, where we only had 18 starters. Something really dicky's going on with the old Discord at the moment. I'm hearing lights and whistles and everything. I'm hoping it's not my end. I'm hoping everybody else can hear me. We've got Aiden, Daniel, Greg and Chapo here. Josh has departed, and so too, I reckon somebody else has too. But thankfully, we've got enough blokes here to have a chat about what was one. Timmy Watson's have obviously departed as well. We'll hopefully catch up with Tim a little bit later on. So everyone departing at the same time, and it was just going ding, 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 and I was like, hang on, what's going on? Magnificent performance from the Whiskey Business stable. We'll get to Greg Heaney and Aiden Luthwaite in just a moment, but we must start with Daniel Yeaman. Welcome to the Winners Club and the Road to Indy series on the platforms of the GSRC, mate. What a phenomenal performance from you. I mean, you had to ride your luck a little bit there because the competition caution came at just the right time to buy you track position there. A master stroke, if ever there was one, throughout the course of this championship. But let's go back to the start. Why the decision to start from pit lane, please?
Simply a fact, I got into the session with about 2 minutes left. Oh, no, it would have been 4 minutes left in quali, I think it was. And I off-tracked the one lap I had time to get in.
Okay, yep.
Unfortunately, it's a little less glamorous than it might sound, or might have been off the bat. But what it did do, as it turned out, whilst I started running in lower burn fuel maps and catching the back of the train, was actually I had more fuel than my teammates Dylan and Tyson had started in the front of the track. So I was like, oh, actually, I'm still in with it fuel-wise. Yes. So I then started working around. I was like, okay, I can maybe stretch that first stint. And then I said, okay, let's then stretch the second stint. And that's how we get to that point there where I was thinking the comp caution should have been coming out soon. I got a little worried because I'm running out of fuel, getting awfully tight there. Then it comes and I'm like, okay, safety car map, and we're going to go as slow as we can so we don't have to come into a closed pit.
Funny you say that.
Let's just. I was going to say, Joe, we were trying to pick a couple of things apart here. Right. Number one is the competition caution. I'm looking at lap 22 come and go, and that was the number we were told before we went on air. And it came and went, and then we got to 23, and I was like, hang on, where's Nick gone? Has he knocked off? What's going on? So we went one lap later on the comp caution, right? So at that point, I'm looking at you having done an 11-lap stint and a second 11-lap stint, stretching that to 12, and I'm like, hang on, this is going to get really dicey. Thankfully, you were able to get it back to the lane on fumes. The second point was there was a full roll and form lap to get the race underway. So you were able to save fuel in that regard as well, and that's what we were calling it as. I looked at it immediately and I thought either they want to avoid trouble on the first corner because we know that that's a fact around here, that's a possibility. But also, maybe, just from a strat standpoint, maybe they're thinking a pit lane start. Yeah, okay, we're going to take a little time to warm the tyres up, etc. and so forth. But it does buy us that extra lap of fuel, or half lap of fuel. Whatever the case may be, it worked.
Yes, it did. Hopefully I'm coming through in Discord there.
Yeah, gotcha, mate. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, okay, cool. So the bind's working outside of Discord. I mean, yeah, for a second I was concerned I was going to have to push the entire first half of the race, and then come what may when the comp caution fell would hopefully get me a little bit closer to the action. But yeah, all of a sudden after about 3 or 4 laps, when I started talking fuel numbers with Tyson and Dylan, and they were saying, oh, I've got this much fuel, and I'm like, oh, I've actually like half a litre up on you or something like that, maybe even upwards of half a lap up. I just sort of said, okay, let's just keep playing with the fuel map options without going full save in the opening stint, get that extra lap. And but then yeah, I said, okay, let's just gambit. We don't know when the comp caution's coming exactly. It's usually around the halfway mark, but the 2 races I've done now being, I think it was where was it? It wasn't Magny Call last week, it was the one something prior to that I did. Either way. No, it's only been about 2 or 3 weeks. But either way, I'll figure it out eventually at some point, or someone can go back through the archives and figure it out for me. But I said, yeah, look, either it's going to come slightly before, like in the middle of the second stint, or it's going to come right about halfway, based on where it came out at that previous road course. Yeah, so I said, okay, let's gambit. Let's go as long as we can in the middle of the race, and maybe we'll be in the window to then only make 2 stops. Because also, once we started running numbers during the race, we were like, okay, there's a splash of fuel may be needed unless you can save really hard and take advantage of the comp caution. And so committed to trying to cut out that splash of fuel towards the end.
Worked in your advantage, and also what worked in your favour is you had a little bit more push to pass time to burn on the final few laps on Aidan Luthwaite, mate, who had run out before we got to the final lap, and that proved to be the defining moment for you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was having committed to the fuel save, had to make sure I didn't touch the button too much in that stint, so I could do 10 laps. As it turned out, couldn't even do 10 laps flat out with the amount I think I was burning push to pass as well to boot. So once I caught Aiden, there was a bit of juggling with the fuel maps for a bit, letting him see how he wanted to play it out. And when I sort of realised he was wanting to race me there for the last couple of laps, like, okay, cool, fine by me. I'll just pocket as much as I can for the end of it, and then I'll be able to go as hard as I can on that last lap. And yeah, definitely felt the advantage of push to pass towards the end of it there, particularly on that final lap.
You've taken these Indycars like a duck to water. You absolutely love this stuff, and you've proven to be a race winning contender now more than once. I mean, just how close were you and Aiden to making contact and taking one another out there on the in the closing stages, mate? Because it looked as though it was maybe a coat of varnish in it at one point from our viewpoint.
We did bump on the very final lap there, heading up into the hairpin, whatever you want to call that, turn 2 or turn 3.
Yep.
And there were a couple of moments where, yeah, I was trying to sort of, yeah, just so like, okay, if I'm going to go on the attack, commit to a line, but also do my best to sort of force Aiden to go do narrow, say, into the hairpin a couple of spots. And so there was only that one time on the...
Okay, what happened that time?
Oh, we lost you, Dan. You there?
We've got Dan back now, have we? There we go.
My Discord did a thing. Yeah, mine did a thing. Yeah, okay. So I hadn't had that issue tonight, and now of course it happens here in the interview. So it's just that one time on the last lap. there were a couple of times it got a little closer whilst I was fighting with Aiden there, but like credit to him, he fought within the limits there. I just had to really send it on that final lap because once I sort of knew how much of a defence he wanted to put up there at the end.
You must have been very close to getting a slowdown there in the closing stages as well, because you were well out wide on that penultimate corner.
The track limits are rather generous here at the Rebel Ring last turn. Like, certainly picked up off tracks out there. Unfortunately, it invalidated off 1:14.1 in that final stint, which I would have liked taking the fastest lap credit officially, but the lap's still there. It's just not going to count, unfortunately, for those records. Look, honestly, it could have been close to a slowdown, but I haven't actually seen a slowdown there recently. I sort of just, I guess, was keeping it in the back of my mind. Don't overdrive that corner, but certainly you can run out. It's two tyres basically on the serrated green part of the curve. You sort of can get away with out there.
Copy that. Just a testament to the competitiveness of this championship, folks. 8 different winners in the season now. Daniel, the latest one. Thoughts now before we go to Greg Heaney, Sam Chapman and Aidan Luthwaite from you on, well, firstly, the disappointment that we're not offering the Indycar next term, and secondly, because we revealed our slate earlier in the week and Indycar's not there. I mean, to be fair, though, we've at times over the past few years alternated between Indycars and stock cars, or Indycars has had a season on, then a season off, or, you know, there's been a couple of terms where it has run concurrently, but this term will be the last time we see Indycar this year. We've got the Radical SR8 in this slot next term. So your thoughts on that? And secondly, your thoughts on bringing the curtain down on this series at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next Friday night for 500k, 125 laps, knowing full well that the stakes will be raised, A, because there's a championship on the line between Aiden and Adam, but secondly, because there'll be a few, not just wildcards contenders that are not in the contention for the championship per se, so people like you, but there'll also be a few other guys that throw their hat into the ring just purely for the sake of the fact that it's IndyCars and Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, that's for sure. Oval experience is pretty limited for me since the last thing I really done with IndyCar was managing a series, not driving one, so it's a chance, a guilty pleasure in a sense. So if I want to be competitive, I'm either going to have to learn really fast on the job next week, or I'm going to have to actually make an effort to practice coming into the race to make sure I sort of know how the car's going to adapt over the course of a stint, and also find out sort of a little bit more about the fuel, because with the road races and having these really short tanks, it has meant that we've had obviously a lot of stops to factor in whether we maybe see a bigger fuel tank given it to be 500k, and therefore we can afford some pretty lengthy stints, but we'll see how that plays out. And yeah, really, if we still have the comp caution rule and the way that plays out for that one, like the other ovals as well, it'll probably mean a case of just managing everything and then being able to deploy the pace at the end of the race in that final stint where it'll be where it'll matter the most.
Went at an average speed of just under 200 kilometres an hour tonight, folks. 4.3 kilometres, 47 laps, 202.1 kilometres the race distance tonight, and we were well into the second hour of proceedings, but we were well shy of the 65-minute mark at the same time. I think we had about 2 minutes left on the clock when the checkered flag flew. So a very high-speed round of the IndyCar series. Nothing changes there next week, but I, like Daniel, will be interested in seeing what they do with the fuel tank. Whether Nick gives you a little bit more leverage with that one, because otherwise we're looking at pit stops every 15 minutes or every 10 minutes in a 100-minute race. So that would make for a very active night on pit road, and I reckon you'll find that information out more closer to the event. I reckon it will also come with maybe one extra set of tyres as well, considering that we're upping the stakes and it becomes 500k instead of, well, as I say, tonight we had 200k. So
125
all
laps
these questions.
next week.
Yeah, that's right. 125 laps, 500k. So that's the point.
Yeah.
Rather than 200k that we had tonight, 202. It's an extra 300 kilometres.
Yeah, if it was a 200k race, it wouldn't take long around that place.
No, not long at all. No. 40 laps, it'd be done in, 3 laps every 2 minutes around there. So you do the maths, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be done pretty bloody quickly. On that subject, let's get your thoughts, Daniel, on what will see you motoring around in next season in the absence of the IndyCar, mate.
Honestly, I haven't actually, unfortunately, checked what's coming up for 2024D. I'll have to also register with the club again to be signed up. So, thought the Radicals might be something I dabble in a little bit there, given it's the SR8, which is a car that's been around a while and also a favourite. The other thing probably would be seeing me get some more laps in the GT3 series, I think, should my Mondays stay open there as well. So, I'll have to hunt down the full announcement and reveal of the schedule for 2024. But at the very least, we can probably start penciling me in for a couple of Mondays and Fridays in that case.
Beautiful. Monday night, just for anyone that, like Daniel, hasn't yet heard, LMP2 moves to Monday night in the entree slot. GT3 stays in the main course slot. Tuesday night remains unchanged. There are a couple of tweaks to the introductory formula in the entree slot. It's going from a 5-car championship to a 3-car championship, 3 races each in the Formula V, the Skip Barber, and the Formula 4. Whichever field is out of those 3 cars, whichever has the biggest field throughout the course of their 3 rounds, in the first 9 weeks of the championship, that will be the grand final car for week 10. Night 3 of the week, Wednesday. How good's that going to be? We're going to have the entree slot will be the NASCAR Truck Series, both ovals and road courses. Then on to the supercars in the main course slot. Thursday night, the entree will be GT4, the main course will be Porsche Carrera Cup, and of course on Friday nights the Radical SR8s and then Mountain Men on Saturday nights. So a big offering next term on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and we're very excited about it. Remember, it all starts Monday, September 30. I can't believe September's almost halfway through. That is fair dinkum ridiculous. But now, on that subject, Daniel, well done tonight, mate. Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you next Friday night at the Brickyard. Good luck with everything going on between now and then, and the practice as well.
Thank you very much, Zach. And actually have gone back and also looked at it. It was Spa was the other road race I've done this season.
There you go.
Made a right meal of the strategy there. But yeah, look, that all sounds good indeed. Fingers crossed we can get something right for Indy for next week as well. And by the sounds of that schedule for 2024 Season D, keep an eye out for maybe a couple of spare Wednesdays might also pop up along the way as well.
That's it. Exactly. For the NASCAR trucks, yeah?
That could work, yes.
Yep, there we go. All right, very nice to hear it. Now, and so does Pete Matson as well, because he's the one backing it for All Big Australia. Port Adelaide trailing Hawthorn at the moment, 39-37. Panthers still lead Roosters 24-10 in the AFL and NRL finals, respectively. Azerbaijan Formula 1 Grand Prix practice underway tonight. Of course, NASCAR, Indycar this weekend. Supercars as well. A huge weekend of motorsport, both on the virtual platforms and in the real world as well. FIA World Endurance Championship from Fuji Speedway on Sunday as well. If you don't mind, you can see that on Stan Sport. Sam Chapman's here, Aidan Luthwaite's here, Greg Heaney's here. Aidan, compelling viewing. That was fascinating to watch. That was great stuff. We really enjoyed watching you go punch for punch, toe to toe with Daniel Yeaman. He got the better of you on that occasion, but I guess what's important to remember here is you've still got the championship lead and you kept Adam Lavis at bay tonight, so you're in the box seat, albeit with still a little bit of work to do when we go to the Brickyard next week. Your thoughts on that race?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was definitely interesting, that's for sure. Yeah, good luck, what's it called? Well done to Daniel. That was an awesome race, but yeah, it didn't quite. I don't think I really managed to push the pass as well as I could have, to be honest. Sort of had, fuel concerns towards the end of that. I tried to make the best of it, but yeah, I didn't really get there towards the end, but is what it is. As for IndyCar, yeah, oval's not really my strong suit, so definitely a bit of practice to do there. I know Adam's very, very strong at ovals, as he's demonstrated previously in the season. But yeah, nothing I can't work around, I don't think.
No, not at all. I mean, some serious pressure mounted in the early stages of that second stint, particularly from not just Daniel, but also, I mean, Dylan Walker and Tyson Broad as well. But you managed to withstand that pressure and see them off. It was just Daniel that you had to worry about. Some good door-to-door racing or wheel-to-wheel racing in this instance. And as Daniel said, only one small bit of contact the entire way round.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, no, it was good racing. Really respectful, I reckon, from both parties. Yeah, just getting a little bit wheel to wheel at some parts was really, really good. I'm sure it was really, really good to watch on the broadcast as well. But yeah, sort of had that in the back of my mind, sort of thing. I didn't want to fight him too hard, just in case we had an off, sort of thing, and throw away all the points I had in this round and end up finishing behind Adam. That would not be very beneficiary for me. But yeah, is what it is.
Indeed it is. Thoughts on the strategy play throughout the course of the night, mate? The fuel burn was interesting because, as we said, you guys were one of many that stopped twice before that safety car was deployed. Daniel, however, managed to make it work and only stopped once, and that proved to be to his advantage at least.
100%, yeah. No, props to Daniel there. To do that much fuel saving, I reckon, was, very, very impressive indeed. Sort of knew that, probably by about lap 9, lap 10, around that sort of, first pit stop window that we were going to be on different strategies. I think it was just going to be really a toss-up as to when the safety car came out, as if to, if it was going to be more beneficial to him or to me or whoever. But yeah, no, really, really great job there, Daniel, with the fuel saving. That was very impressive.
Indeed, it was very impressive from him. What was also interesting too, mate, is when you look at the way the race played out, we kind of looked at your advantage there. You were out to the tune of 6 seconds, I think, at one point, leading quite comfortably in the second stint, knowing full well that you were going to be, reeled back in by that competition caution. Do you think about that when you look at next week in the Indianapolis 500K and how that may play out and adjust your plan of attack accordingly or not?
No, I think so, yeah. I think in hindsight, I think I probably could have swayed towards what Daniel did more with strategy, if I could stretch out the fuel a little bit more. So in that regard, it's probably a little bit of a mistake there. But yeah, you live and learn. So just crunching the numbers really beforehand for Indy, I think, were really, really important, and just ultimately waiting to see when that safety car comes out and, yeah, roll the dice and see how we go.
Indeed. Again, flying the flag for the team, mate. Fred Kahn, next best home in 8th. I don't think I mentioned this to Daniel yet, but he also gets most positions gained tonight, so there's those bonus points. I'm not sure. I'll find out when Adam Lavis finishes uploading the points or updating the points whether anyone notched up a clean race tonight. No incident points, etc. But everybody was on the absolute limit there. What about the tyre strap, mate? It was interesting to see that you, Lavis, Yeaman, as soon as that safety car was called, that was when you opted to go onto the alternates.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't really see too much benefit, really. I did do an opposite strategy at the Nürburgring, where I did start on the softs, but in hindsight, I don't really see too much benefit of it, just because obviously you're going to have that safety car anyway. It's going to bunch everyone back up. There's not really too much point in pushing on the softs, I reckon, beforehand when the safety car comes out. I really reckon it's just about, saving those, softer compounds until after that safety car, and then just really pushing to the end, yeah.
Indeed. Actually, Daniel's still here, so let me bring him back in and get him to answer this straight after I pose the question to you, because it's the first time we've had a chance to catch up with you this week. We didn't see you last night for the Porsches. You missed out on some really top shelf racing there, but obviously your focus is now going to be securing this Indycar title for yourself in Whiskey Business Racing. However, we're reliably informed that Greg Heaney's been fielding some phone calls this week from his stablemate saying, get me a livery for that bloody McLaren. The McLaren GT3 has dropped. Are you looking at that as a new toy to play with next term?
Perhaps, yeah. I'm currently undecided, I reckon, with the GT3 car. Sort of stepping away from the BMW, I reckon, where I started out at the start of the year. I just think it's, it's time to move on to something else. Had a go with the Lamborghini as well. Found that was really, really good. If you can drive it on the edge, it's really, really fast. But I think, yeah, it might be a toss-up between the Porsche and the McLaren, perhaps, I reckon. Yeah, one of the two.
Daniel, let me get your thoughts on that, because I know you did mention GT3 for next season. Is the McLaren tickling your fancy?
It's feeling all right to start out, but it's going to need some work to be something I think I'd be comfortable in. Finding at the moment, it's got some traits on corner entry I'm not a particular fan of. But in saying definitely sort of feeling a little more comfortable in front engine cars once again at the current state with sort of iRacing setups to start off. So going to have to really dig in and start driving and feeling things out at this stage. And we might be bringing some front engine power to Monday Night GT3 at this rate.
All right, very nicely done. We're very much looking forward to the new GT3 season and finally seeing some McLarens back on the grid. They've been few and far between in recent seasons, there's no doubt about that. Aiden, to finish with you, obviously Super Formula Light coming up. A lot to be excited about when we get to now my Discord's doing funny things. Discord's just having a wobbly tonight. Now Super Formula Light Interclub Challenge Silverstone, your thoughts on that while I've got you?
Yeah, very, very keen indeed. Yeah, I hope to do better than I did last time at Silverstone, as opposed to, getting flipped on my roof sort of thing at round one. But yeah, the car that I like, a track that I really like. Yeah, just got to get some practice in, and should be really good fun, 100%.
I just got to say, unfortunately,
yes,
Zach, for Aiden, who's had to relive that every night of broadcast, that him being on his lid was actually part of the intro video. So you certainly made it famous after round one, Aiden. But yeah, certainly picked the pace up right across the board, which is evident with the racing tonight with Dan, mate. It was absolutely exceptional.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
All right, mate. Looking forward to seeing you when we get to Silverstone on Wednesday night, and then, of course, when we get back to the IMS next Friday night for the final round of Indycar, and you go in there with the advantage. But we know motor racing's a strange beast, and anything could possibly happen there. We're looking forward to it nonetheless. Go well.
Cheers, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Greg Heaney, how nervous are you going into next week? Firstly, the Interclub Challenge is going to be extraordinary. We're looking forward to that. That's Wednesday night. You'll see it from 7:35. And then the championship trophy, the first bit of silverware for the mantelpiece, is there within reaching distance, mate. So what an extraordinary drive from Aiden tonight to bank second, albeit, missed out on the win with a phenomenal performance from Daniel Yeaman. And then we look at next week. We know that he goes into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the advantage. It's extraordinary the way he's strung this season together.
Oh, most definitely. I mean,
Greg's just dropped out there, has he?
Oh. No, I probably took a finger off the button. As you see it now push to talk in here. Sorry. I probably took a finger off the button.
Bug it up there for a second.
No. I'm just going to hold my finger on this button now. So, but yeah, no, it's can't credit Aiden enough for how he's turned the season around after the not so great first round, and his pace has improved exponentially. So yeah, as to answer your question, nervous going into next week. Myself, I'll be happy to make the end of it. I've put the call out to all of our drivers to hopefully get as many cars on track next week to assist with being rear gunner for Aiden. So we'll see how many of our boys turn up. I'm hoping we can have, half the grid, but we'll find out. Last time we did an oval, we had 5, and
that's
almost pipped him, got him the win for that one. I think we actually no, we didn't get him the win for that because I don't think he was actually there. But no, we hoping to get a chunk of cars on the grid next week. As for the rest of it, we will see how we go. I know we've obviously got Aiden and Jackson plus myself in for the Interclub Challenge on Wednesday. I've got to get some laps in for that one, so that will be interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Silverstone, but we will see how we go.
Penrith, preliminary final bound, ladies and gentlemen. They're 4 minutes from home, 30 points to 10, leading the Roosters right now. And the AFL, if you don't mind, Port Adelaide have edged back in front, 7-8-50 to 6-3-39 on Hawthorn. But, there's still 80 seconds left in the third quarter, and there's, of course, still one final quarter to come after that. Hey, whilst we got you, Greg, talk us through your night, please. Unluckily, finishing a lap down there, unable to get home on a bit of juice there at the end. I think you had to do a late splash and dash, finishing in 13th position ahead of Sam King.
Yeah, definitely not my finest night in the chair. Too many tours of pit lane and a love-hate relationship with the exit curb on turn 1. Yeah, no, look, happy to survive the race and not completely destroy the car. I think at worst, I broke half a front wing off, turned it into a lawnmower a few times, but hey, if F1 drivers can turn them into lawnmowers at Red Bull, so can I. But yeah, no, it was a good race. Unfortunately, gave myself a drive-through penalty after the first pit stop. That white line that comes out of pit road is not straight. It's got a bit of a bend in it,
Yes.
and if you put a tyre over it, you're stuffed.
Yep. Absolutely. It's funny that you mentioned mowing. Second reference to mowing tonight within this broadcast booth. We're eyeing off attracting the attention of Jim's Mowing for a sponsorship spot on the platforms of the GSRC, just purely because of the amount of cars that do the lawn mowing on any given night and in a given week in our server. And I saw someone running a Jim's Mowing livery there the other night that didn't actually do any grass mowing that I can remember. However, 50 place 45, Port Adelaide and Hawthorn going into the three-quarter time break, so Hawthorn have struck late to make that a one-goal game. What about the others in the server? Fred Kahn, a good run, 16th to 8th, and unfortunately Scott Jordanson parked up early, mate.
Yeah, well done to Fred to make it into the top 10. Unfortunately, he couldn't string his laps together for qualifying, so unfortunately had to start from pit road, as per the new rules that have been implemented for the remainder of the races that we have. And yeah, Scott was umming and ahhing whether he was actually going to jump into the server or not, and he's just like, well, I'll race, but I'm going to start from the back of the grid. And I was like, well, if you don't put a lap in, you're in pit road. So he put a lap in. He didn't intend to race it terribly hard. He just wanted to turn some laps. So he put in a lap that would have put him at the rear of the grid had everybody had gotten a lap in. So, yeah. And then I think he said he copped a couple of penalties or something throughout the race, so he just decided to park up for the night and watch the rest of it out from the server. So
now, very shortly, boys, before we knock off air here, I'll give you the results from practice 1 from the Azerbaijan Grand Prix as well, because they're just coming into the booth as we speak. Practice 2 coming up at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Qualifying tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. The race 9 o'clock on Sunday night, which is a nice and civilised time for us on the eastern seaboard, and also a nice time for the Kiwis to sit up and watch it as well. Greg, nervous week coming up, no doubt about that. We know full well that Adam Lavis has proven form on ovals. Aiden's going to have to bring his A game next week because he doesn't have enough in terms of drop round points to fall back on should Adam win and he crash out. So it's very important in nursing him home and getting him to the checkered flag in any capacity next week.
Oh yeah, most definitely. As mentioned earlier, yeah, going to hope to have as many cars as we possibly can on the grid. I know Jackson's going to be there, Fred, myself, hopefully Scott as well, and maybe Bobby as well. But yeah, we're going to try and get as many cars on the grid as we can to play rear gunner for Aiden to hopefully cover him so we can get him to the line and take that championship. So.
All right, very nicely done. It's been a hell of a week, hasn't it? I mean, we had the Porsches last night into the Indycars tonight. We were wondering if the Indycars could deliver anything like the spectacle that the Porsches did, and they went very bloody close to it, no doubt about that. The only thing they were missing was the size of the Porsche field and maybe the depth of the battle packs. That was about the only thing that the Porsches had on that, because we had a grandstand finish here at the front of the field. After 47 laps, the race was decided by 0.3 of a second. Stay with me, Greg, coming back to you in a moment. Sam Chapman's here as well. So too Nick Fodiatis, who organises the series and saw this one out from race control. Didn't even have a chance to say good evening to you, mate. Good evening, welcome. Very good night at the office, wasn't it?
Yeah, good evening, Zach. Well, for me, it was a bit of a quiet one in race control there, but you know, I don't know, people aren't liking this track, but man, it produces some good racing.
Absolutely, and it set us up nicely for a 500k next week. So there's already a couple of questions being asked. What does this mean now next week when we look at fuel tanks? and also the tyres that will be at the disposal of these competitors that line up for 500k next Friday night. Surely, given that we've extended the length of the race, there'll be an increase on the leniency from your end?
Yes, so I believe I'll keep the tanks the same.
Oh, okay.
I'll get about 17, 18 laps a tank.
Yep.
But I have increased the tyre sets, but they still got to save or double stint a set, maybe 2.
Yep. And that, by my numbers, if you're telling 17, 18 laps, that's 6 pit stops. Yep.
Yeah, roughly. So it's still 35 litre tank, so yeah. And we know a full tank of 70 litres at the Brickyard can do just under 30 laps, or roughly 30 laps. So
that's yeah, that's going to be a very busy pit lane for 100 minutes next Friday night. Mate, 8 different winners. What a performance from Daniel Yeaman. Burn from the start, burn from pit lane. And that actually, with the extra length of the warm-up lap for the competitors here, it was 1 lap instead of half a lap, as would normally be the case for some of our other road circuit racing events. That worked to the advantage of those that started from pit lane. That was a phenomenal drive from Daniel.
yeah, phenomenal drive. In terms of the short lap, that was an oversight by me. I didn't tick the checkbox when I uploaded this server. And prior to this week, we've done 45 laps around here and done 2 safety cars. So I added an extra 2 laps. And that worked out really well. I do want to apologise to Sam King, Chris Noble and Stephen Crediton, because I didn't actually add a lap on because I was busy tackling other stuff, and then all of a sudden I heard green, green, green in my ears. I'm like, oh no, because they didn't make it back to the end of the crocodile. So I do apologise to those guys because I wanted to get everybody back on the lead lap and let's go.
Yep, and well, everyone was back on the lead lap temporarily at least. Not a huge rate of attrition tonight. Couple of big incidents though. So from a race control standpoint, how many penalties did you have to issue, and how many did you have to work across the knuckles? I
just closed the thing down, but I've got it written down here. Well, there was a spin before the green flag, which was quite interesting. So I've had to wrap him on the knuckles there for not holding his brakes because he ran into another competitor. There was the turn 1, lap 3 was an interesting one. There was a big dive, and that resulted in contact. And then the person who got contacted got restarted again and then ran into somebody else and then nearly flipped him over the fence. So there was a bit there. And then the last one was, Stephen was trying to get into the pits and he had 2 of those blue and white cars up his backside, but he didn't verbalise it or tell the guys. So when they came around the corner, they basically had nowhere to go because he was trying to slow down and they ran into him. So a little bit of self-penalty there. But other than that, it was pretty quiet night for race control standards.
And no doubt you'll be expecting an entourage of cameo appearances next Friday night when we get to the Brickyard, mate.
Cameo appearances, and I'm going to need some more help for race control because it's a big track to cover, and it's going to be a lot of cars.
And a lot of action. Well done, mate. Very nicely done. Stay with me. Coming back to you in a moment. Sam Chapman, let's bring you in right now. Well done. Started second, finished third. No one saw Daniel Yeaman's performance coming. We knew he'd be competitive, but to waltz from pit lane to victory lane is a feat we haven't seen for a while. But it all fell into place very nicely for you tonight, mate, and you managed to hold off Adam Lavis in the end, and he was charging hard.
Yeah, I did. It was a good battle there towards the end. I sort of, pitting that sort of lap earlier than him, than Dan Yeaman. It was, I made it a bit after, because I came out of the pits pretty hot and then sort of started looking at the fuel midway through the stint going, actually this is a bit tighter than I was hoping. So had to sort of start saving, which was really frustrating because you start dropping back from the leaders when you probably could have caught them otherwise. So it was... But yeah, I was able to hold off Adam, and then in the last couple of laps, I'd saved enough that I could just go flat out and push, and I had bucket loads of push to pass left as well. So I think that was part of the fuel saving problem that came with that. Good race all in all. I've really started to like these cars. This is turning into one of my favourite cars. I'm really disappointed they're not on next season.
Well, actually, since Nick Fodiatis is here, we'll get his take on that because he'll be no doubt interested in the replacement, the SR8 Radical. Joe Baldwin was talking about that the other night as well. So, yeah, there is a little bit of disappointment there. Nick, we are used to, I mentioned it in the call because someone mentioned that we don't have the IndyCars every single season. We are used to having them on a sporadic basis, twice annually rather than 4 times like something like GT3 or the Porsche Cup.
Yeah, look, it pains me more than anybody else that they're not on again. I want to be out there competing, but duty calls, so I've got to do race control, commentary, organising the races, all that kind of thing. So yeah, I can't get out there to do it. And yes, I really would love to have them a second time around. I'll look into that for 25. As for the rest of 24, yeah, I've gone to the Radical SR8s because I know they're fun, and there's some really good tracks that they're really well suited to. A lot of reallys in that sentence.
Yes.
Really?
And much like these cars, they're light, they're fast, and they got lots of downforce. So lots of fun. And yeah, I mean, there's no push to pass, there's no fuel mixtures, there's no all that kind of thing. But I will endeavour to have 2 seasons of it next year, especially when the strike when the iron's hot, like leading into Indy and probably season C, as we are now. But I've got to get my ducks in a row and get race controllers and commentators and broadcasters, all sorts of things, just for me to have a race. So yeah.
Yes, and just on the subject of you having a race, by the way, mate, has that Formula 4 of yours recovered from the other night?
Oh look, that's yeah. I was actually talking to forgotten, but yeah. I was discovering bits and pieces with that. It rewards smooth inputs, and also when you put your brake bias in the right spot, or don't do it on the way into turn 1 while you're leading a race. So yeah. Anyway.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Chapo, let's go back to you. Nick, stay with me. I'm coming back to you in a moment. Chapo, some final thoughts from you. I mean, it got hairy there after the safety car restart, didn't it? You were right in the thick of it.
Yeah, I was right in the thick of it. It was, the thing was, I was actually saving a lot of fuel there because I was just sort of sitting back, I was quite happy just to sit back and say, actually, yeah, right here. Right, so sit back, not get involved, save some fuel, and I probably got within sort of 0.4 of a lap of saving, and I went, no, we'll just go flat out. There should be enough in that final stint. But realistically, it would have been smarter just to stay behind and save that extra lap rather than I ended up double taking to turn 1. That was pretty cool, but. Yeah, it got a little bit hairy, and but it was all strategy at that point, and I think that's why everyone was sort of bunched up like that and losing time, is that all worked out that they need that extra lap, and we're sort of working on exactly how to do that. Are you clutching in here, are you clutching in there, and that sort of creates this unpredictable sort of driving pattern that you saw ahead. So yeah, it was hairy, but yeah, good fun.
Just like real IndyCar.
Yeah, exactly.
Into a train because they're all saving fuel.
Yeah, fortunately Grosjean wasn't on the track today, so there was no nasty rejoins, at least that I saw, Nick. But
yeah, well, yeah. Watch lap 3 again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But this corner in particular, I struggled with this one. It's just the way that it comes up, and you lose that sort of rear grip. That's why I went around in that sort of first segment.
Should have tried it in the Porsche last night.
No, that's all right. I think I'll leave that one to other people, maybe, Joe.
Yeah.
I can imagine it wasn't a particularly easy endeavour. Actually, the Porsche around here would probably be quite tough in some respects, but yeah, I do love the track though, to be honest. It's you've got off tracks and that sort of thing, but once you know where they are and how to use it, it's a lot of fun.
Indeed. Hey, not too far from wrapping this one up. We're almost out of time, but I'm just going to run everybody through the updated point standings. Aiden Luthwaite 381, Adam Lavis 340, Fred Kahn up to third on 258, ahead of Chris Noble 222, Paul Wood not on the grid tonight, 221. Coming to Nick on that in just a moment. Then Eduardo Zamora, 202. Dave Oliver, 200. Then you go back to Greg Heaney, 195. Wayne Visser, 184. And Aaron Russell up 3 spots into the top 10, 177. The race winner tonight, gained 4 spots in the points race, moved up into 16th place, 149 points. In and around him, you got Tyson Broad, 17th, 143. Sam Chapman, 18th, 123. What might have been had those guys been on the grid for every round of the championship. Jackson Doyle's there on 160 as well. And all those guys next week, Nick, there's 2 parts to this question for you. All those guys next week are going to be credible, genuine threats at the front end of the field, contenders and the like. And your teammate, Paul Wood, I mean, he needed a good result here to try and park up and not do the oval. I think you're going to have to twist his arm now.
Oh, look, he's actually up in Queensland for a family emergency, so I don't think he'll be back for the rest of the season.
No good. All right. No, it's always a bummer when we hear the word family and emergency. Yep. And even though not everybody is across that information, obviously, Joe and Nick are teammates of Paul, so they'd be right across that. But we'll send on all of our best well wishes as well on behalf of everybody else here on the platforms of the GSRC. So much to be excited about when we get to Indianapolis next Friday night. Chapo.
A whole week to build up to it too.
Well, I know, Nick. There's the merch info for you, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's Joe's way of telling me he's hungry and winding me up. But we'll get to the wrap up in just a moment. Chapo, what do the next 7 days look like? I mean, obviously, we've got Tuesday night and we've got Friday night, but it's a rare, quiet week on the platforms of the GSRC.
Yeah, it's about time I had some time off, I think. It's been a bloody busy week in all corners, but in sim racing and in everything else, it's been full on. So I've got some leave towards the end of next week too. So I think we'll focus on, we've got that Open Wheels Nationals as well. So that will be Wednesday. So that's pretty exciting. We'll have to put some prep in for that. But otherwise, it might be just time to sit back and refresh away from the sim for a bit.
Adelaide have raced out to a 3-goal lead, boys. 69 plays 51. It was 51 apiece about 3 minutes ago. So Port Adelaide are on a march at the Adelaide Oval. Greg Heaney, aside from obviously the racing, what else has the Whiskey Business Stable got to look forward to over the course of the next 7 days? And how much more fun are you having with that Merc since the last time we spoke about it last night?
Well, it's the McLaren.
Sorry, the McLaren. Sorry, not the Merc, the McLaren, yes. Go, Greg.
The button let go again.
The operator let go of the button, I think he meant.
No, I'm on a wireless keyboard, so it probably turned itself back on, and then it's tech fun, hey? It was, yes, it is the McLaren. Had a go in it today, and now my Discord's playing funny buggers. Had a go in it with a race today that didn't end too well. GTP's doing GTP things whilst you're driving around in GT3, so that's always fun. In the week or two off, it'll be just a bunch of practice. We may even throw up on a weekend, might throw up like a Whiskey Business Invitational for anybody that wants to jump in, just a fun race or something. I know Jackson wants to get all of our guys on and just have a fun, throw it into every corner, flat out type race, and just get some, maybe get like a B-roll blooper reel or something of us just sending it through everybody or something. I have no idea. I know he said he wants to throw up a WBR race, but we'll probably throw up an invitational for everybody and all and sundry that want to jump in and have a go on a weekend or something.
Have the gloves off in the rule book, huh?
Yeah, throw the rule books out the window. It's just infinite fast repairs and just send it.
Yeah, I know one thing that we've done in the past with the GSRC during the off season, we run what we call a Joker's Wild night on a Saturday night. So we might bring that back to basically the way that works. Everybody goes out and qualifies, and it's like whether it's a figure 8 track or a small little oval with whatever car, something's fun. Whoever qualifies first is the joker. And then they take off, they get 5 laps in front of everybody else before anyone else is allowed to go. And in a 100-lap race, whoever wins is the winner, and there's no rules. The idea is kill the leader. So we might bring back one of the Jokers Wilds. It's been a while since we've done one, so keep your eyes out for that one.
Now, that would make things rather interesting.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. No, we've had heaps of fun, and you have to be in the Discord if you want to race. And it's probably something that we should actually broadcast, to be honest, because mind you, though, it'd have to be after hours. Kiddies wouldn't be able to listen to the 18+ broadcast during those races, but yeah, it's always been a lot of fun.
Now, just before I go back to Joe to wrap things up, I'm going to release Nick at this point because I've only just seen your Discord message come through, mate, so apologies for that. On your way out, though, final thought and what the next week looks like for you before we reconvene next Friday night.
In terms of racing?
In terms of anything.
Well, yeah, look, I've got to get back into doing officials and build my I rating back up. I really dearly want to do Indycars, so I'm going to have to look at possibly the Class C one, but hopefully I'm not in a lower skill level people that'll take you out first corner. So we'll see how we go there. And I've literally just written in the Indycar chat, I will be putting up a practice server for anybody who wants to participate on Friday night. So
excellent.
Yeah, there's all those bits and pieces. I don't know if we got a meeting on Tuesday, but yeah, just keep on keeping on.
Indeed, mate. Thank you for your efforts tonight. Well done. I reckon a lot of people are already commenting that was the IndyCar race of the season. Very close to St. Louis, I'd say. But now we look forward to seeing what the Indianapolis Motor Speedway will throw at us. Go well for the rest of the week, and we'll see you next Friday night.
See you Friday.
Joe, Mountain Men, before we wrap it up and go. Indeed. All right, very nicely done. Greg Heaney, well done tonight. Aidan Luthwaite within a stone's throw of a championship, and a very nice bit of shiny silverware for the Whiskey Business Stable. Go well for the weekend. Good luck on Wednesday night. We'll chat then, and then, of course, we'll see you next Friday night.
No worries, and thank you very much for, as always, putting on a good show for us, and we'll do the best back for you, so you got something to chat about and go off tap like you normally do, Zach. I know you get rather excited when the show comes on, so we'll do what we can on Wednesday for you, and then again hopefully on Friday as well.
I'm sure Wednesday night will be well worth the price of admission. And Friday night, if the real world Indy 500 from the last 2 years is anything to go by, be here next Friday night for the 500k equivalent of the GSRC. That's it from us. We're done for week 10 of term 3 of 2024. But as the boys have already said, there's so much more still to come, and we do it with thanks to the great support of people like Sprite Insider, Waste Options, merch.tgsrci.com, Orbic Australia, Loadsy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. Joe's already mentioned the Mountain Men finale for this term. That is tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern start time, and the extra 100 kilometres on there for good measure, because we always like to ramp it up a little bit for grand final week. Wednesday night, 7:35. Don't forget to join us for the GSRC v SRW Interclub Challenge, the Super Formula One, the SFLs rather, from the Silverstone Circuit in England, and we're looking forward to that immensely. A 1 hour race there, which will be well worth the price of admission. Very good entertainment from SFL throughout the course of this season on our platforms, but pitting the best against the best in 2 different clubs brings out the best in not just the drivers, but also, of course, the club pride will be on the line. And so everyone's going to bring in, and the teams as well, but everyone's just going to bring that extra little 10%. It's going to be well worth your time tuning in on Wednesday night for that. We're looking forward to it. The GSRC is due an Indycar Challenge club win, by the way, Joe. We're none from 2, I think, so far. So we'll wait and see what Wednesday night brings. And then, of course, next Friday night, 10 to 8 Eastern Standard Time, ready for the Brickyard at Indianapolis, the Road to Indy finale, week 11, but round 10. We had to wait 8 weeks for this one, but yeah, it was well and truly worth it. But
yes, it was.
And next week, in week 11, so it's only a 1 week break for everybody this time round before we launch into turn 4. 7:55 Eastern Standard Time, 125 laps, 100 minutes. Looking forward to your company there. And of course, plenty of great sport going on right around the world this weekend. Plenty to sink your teeth into. Australia and England in the T20s. Australia up against Spain in the Davis Cup. Of course, that's on Sunday night. The cricket's early hours tomorrow morning. The AFL and NRL finals continue. The Sandown 500, Formula One, NASCAR, Indycar, World Endurance Championship from a motorsport standpoint. It is all happening this weekend, and quite frankly, I should say locally, good luck to everybody competing in the final Motor Racing Australia event of the season at Sydney Motorsport Park on Sunday. Good luck to those in the West competing in either the Saloon Car Nationals or the Formula V Nationals this weekend, and to those in Tassie racing in the HQ Nationals for 2024. An enormous weekend of motorsport in this part of the world. And of course, we are very much looking forward to week 11. Very rare that we say that that number next to the week any time of the year. Week 11, it's going to be enormous. We're looking forward to it Wednesday and Friday night. But don't forget as well, you saw it on the screen earlier, merch.tgsrci.com for all your GSRC paraphernalia. Race.tgsrci.com for all the information relevant to the club and how to get involved and how to sign up, etc. GSRC.merch.myshopify.com is also a link that takes you to the same place as merch.tgsrci.com. So make sure you get amongst all of that. 5 points to margin, Port Adelaide leading Hawthorn at the moment with a few minutes to play. And earlier tonight, the Panthers accounted for the Roosters 30 points to 10. Good luck to Redbank Plains and the Brethren competing in the Rugby League Ipswich Grand Final on Sunday here locally. That's about the main headline act as far as local sport is concerned this weekend. It's a good thing I've got people that want to talk about national and international sport, or otherwise tomorrow's show would be very light on. And a big thanks to everybody, all hands on deck this week, that made Grand Final week happen. I know we'll wrap up the season proper next Friday night, but a big thanks to Daniel Caressa, to Sam Chapman, to Josh Zuno, to Joe Baldwin, to Adam Lavis, to Liam Banks, and all the crew that have made it possible for us to be with you all 5 nights this week. It wouldn't happen without the people scrolling across the bottom of your screen, but it wouldn't also happen without the tremendous input of the members and the dedication, the tireless effort of the committee and the club at large. The club just goes from strength to strength to strength. I mean, we are, at the best of times, Joe, we are a busy bunch of people.
But
we always find some time in Grand Final week to be able to showcase the guys that not necessarily have had, for reasons beyond our control, which is normally time constraints and sponsor, engagements or endorsements. But for various reasons, we're unable to do 5 nights a week, all week, every week. We're not in the COVID world anymore. So for us to be able to pull out all stops and make it happen in Grand Final week, tip of the hat to the club.
Yeah, definitely. And we've said it before, and I'll say it again. Look, I might be in the big chair at the moment, but it's the guys that are on the committee, top to bottom. There's a bunch of new guys in there. They're all doing their part. There's a big list of stars. We'll go through it all next week when we wrap up the season proper in round 10. There'll be a lot of people named and a lot of thank yous going out. So without those guys, the cogs just don't turn. The old saying goes, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and at the moment, I don't think we've got one. We've got a fantastic team.
Indeed we do. And we'll go around again for Term 4, of course, starting Monday, September 30, but not before we get to term 3's 11th week, and we look forward to your company Wednesday night for the Interclub Challenge and Friday night for the grand finale of the Indycar Series as Luthwaite goes up against Lavis for the title. We can hardly wait for that. But we are also excited about the ring-ins, the cameos, the wild cards.
There'll be lots of them.
Just because it's Indianapolis. Hope you can join us for that and more on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Hope you enjoyed it tonight. If you didn't, go and check your pulse because you're very difficult to please. Some of the best IndyCar racing we've seen all season put on right throughout the field, but the show stolen completely by Daniel Yeaman, who became the 8th different race winner of the season, and Aidan Luthwaite, who went within 0.3 of a second of claiming his 3rd win of the season, but extended his championship lead in the process. On behalf of Josh Zuno, Tim Watson, Nick Fodiatis, Joe Baldwin, and the rest of the GSRC broadcast, commentary and production team here, thanks for joining us. Look forward to your company next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Zach Caban. Until we see you next time, have a great evening and a great weekend. It's bye for now.